Don't worry, you brackish. I stress, all right? I'm from the north of England, all right? All we do is complain.
Yes, we do, fellow North. Well, I know I don't sound very northern, but you couldn't be much northerner, much more northern than I. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the
Hello.
Four Nations. As production just dropped Venice right in it. I'm living for it, honestly.
Yeah, man. It's
Four
true,
more
though, right?
games. I, I mean, it's just kind of, actually, I've heard it's just a very European trait. Apparently, the Germans like to complain, the French like to complain, and so do we. However, we're not talking about the French or the Germans today because we are
No.
here, Four Nations. Four more games coming on up, and we should be looking pretty interesting. We've had a couple of roster swaps coming in today, and if I'm not much mistaken, I think there is the first game was listed as Paragon versus Belfast Storm. As far as I'm aware, that has been shifted, and it's now actually going to be the second game. Time got swept around with the other game, which is Verdant versus Gucci.
Yeah, I'm just gonna see what happens in the draft and see what players show up. To be honest, at this point, because I thought it was Paragon versus Belfast first.
I mean,
Um,
they're coming up. It won't be long
but,
until we see them also. But Gucci,
yeah.
especially, we do need to talk about a little bit because they did have
Hmm.
two roster swaps since last they played. Two of their players chose to step out for personal reasons. Those being, it was Ziffy and
Ziffy.
Bibby. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ziffy and
Ziffy and
Bibby
Bibby.
had to step out. They are replaced by Shin and Maro, which these are names that we have heard of. Shin especially did play for Verzik for a time, if I recall correctly, which Verzik is the team that sort of passed their spot on to Gucci. So nice to see that lineage continue somewhat.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we had Brod and Friends beat Good Sheep quite badly as well last time we saw them. So hopefully they'll be here. New roster. They've got new voices in the comms. We'll have to see if there's just maybe they'll need to warm up together. We'll see. It might be little first game jitters, or we'll see a complete shift because what we saw last time was not good enough.
Well, in fairness, they did have a substitute mid laner for that
They
game
did.
as
They
well.
did. But the
But
draft was
I
crazy,
mean,
right?
it was, but I kind of respect that kind of craziness, especially if you're trying to knock a team off kilter. It worked actually decently well, I think, for a period in the early game. Unfortunately, Broad and Friends were able to right themselves and come back to being that dominant squad that we know them to be. End up taking that one down. Gucci right now, of course, currently sat at 1-2. So they are currently struggling alongside Paragon to try and find themselves in a spot to actually progress because the bottom team, of course, come the end of the split, will be eliminated with no hope of progressing. And right now, it's a three-way tie. Belfast Storm, Gucci, and Paragon, all 1-2.
Yeah, Paragon again got off to a bit of a slow start, going 0-2. They came in as one of the big favorites, right? We had high hopes of Paragon, along with Verdun, and
So
I don't know, they
it's
just kind of
funny
got off to
though.
a bit of a rough start.
It's funny though because you're the new kid on the block, Ben. But
I am.
this is this is very very Paragon. They often start the split with a few jitters, with a couple of perhaps content games, and they really do exponentially grow in power over the course of a split as they sort of figure out the meta and they figure out how they want to execute on their game plans. And
Oh, we're in draft. Yay!
with that in mind, we are on to the riff the first time around. Of course, Verdant are the dominant force in Group B right now. 3-0. They would quite like to come on out of this group flawless. And we are seeing big focus on some of those big power picks right now. Skarner, you've seen him a bunch at Worlds.
Yeah.
And he is the first pick for Verdant.
Yeah, Skarner first pick Verdun. It's no surprise there, to be fair, because they first picked it against Belfast Storm in their last game. And it's answered with the Syndra Sejuani. Very, very popular combination. You got tons of CC, tons of setup, tons of burst, and response looking like a hover of a Kali here.
Beartree, known to not back down in the face of challenge, so the Akali wouldn't surprise me all that much, and it will be locked in. Of course, not going to have the most fun early laning phase, very much outranged by the Syndra. Gonna have to probably go Doran Shield and try and just survive the early poke, farm up to 1-2 items when they can start just looking for backline access.
Yeah, definitely. We obviously saw Bertree play Syndra in his last game, so that being taken away means he's on something else, but shouldn't be too worried. Bertree is coming in as one of the best mid laners that we have seen in the tournament. At least I've seen as the new kid on the block, as
Certainly
you so
thus
say.
far.
I mean, every time I seem to doubt Verdant, they completely prove me wrong, and that's why they're 3-0. And it really is their solo laners. I must speak their praises again. As Varus locked in, which is always interesting, right? Varus is very, very good in professional play. Has seen a lot of nerfs in the past, but you've got the flexibility. You know, the lethality build has sort of come back now, so
it has a bit.
It has a bit, not as much, definitely. You know, it's not as painful as it was, but responsive Jhin, which I definitely do quite like, and we see some support bans probably coming through now on phase 2 bans.
I feel like looking at this Verdant composition, Poppy just needs to go. Like Akali Skarner, they have a really rough time. Like, you're going to try and Shuriken flip into the background, you're going to try and perfect execution on somebody, Poppy just nopes it. Skarner, you're going to try and find an impale by, like, going through the wall, Poppy just nopes it. So, I would not be at all surprised to see that go. In fact, Good Chi are the
interesting.
ones to ban it?
I'm not sure about that one, to be honest, Brackish. I mean, if they really wanted to ban Poppy, they could have waited until the second ban. I think Poppy would have been a lot better for them, but I guess maybe they just don't play it, and Verdant know they don't play it, so they just want to get rid of it anyway. I mean, it's only really great into the Sejuani. It's Jhin and Syndra, it's kind of like whatever. I mean, Syndra's quite good into Poppy, actually, so interesting to see as Rakan banned now. And, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Rakan Sejuani, very oppressive, but I'm not sure if, I guess that's a target ban, right, of Waters. It's Water on Good Chi, right? I can never tell if the names. I need to get the rosters up. Water is on Good Chi. And he's a great Rakan, by the way. I saw Water's Rakan. It is nasty.
Sure is.
Janna coming in as the final ban, which I think should have been Poppy if they really want to get rid of it. But by, it doesn't matter.
That's a Little Pants classic, so not at all surprised to see that one go. His other classic, being the Alistar, is still up and available, and if Water does lock in the Rel here, I feel like that's just something he can kind of just slam here.
Yeah, we'll maybe see a Leona trade, because that seems to be like what happens at the moment now. You know, one gets picked, the other one just sort of gets given over. But interesting comps. I mean, they're looking very spicy. I'm seeing a lot of engage, and this is what we love to see. You know, I'm hoping for a very exciting, volatile match as Verdant prepare what they're going to do in here. I mean, obviously, they're saving the counter pick for Refresh, which makes a lot of sense. I think Refresh will still be okay as a Sylas hover, and I quite like that a lot, Brackish.
So Sylas can't go anywhere but top at this point unless Mitch wants to be a complete maniac and take it into the support role. But I think this is more than likely, as you say, going towards Refresh in the top lane. Jax is already banned, so Shin's big comfort pick is kind of out the window. But of course, if you're playing at this level, you're going to have plenty of picks available.
Oh my god, it's Sylas support. Oh my god, it's Sylas support.
It could just as easily be on support. Don't count that out.
It could, but I'm pretty sure Refresh plays a bit of Ornn, doesn't he?
I mean, everyone plays Ornn. I can win on Ornn, and I'm like an Emerald 4 peak. But
I think Sylas support's kind of better than Ornn support. I think Sylas support offers you a little bit more, and you've got the Rel ults and the Jhin ult's quite nice as Gwen.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe looking more at the Ornn to counter, right, than the...
We'll see. I mean, it's a nice flex on B4, B5 here from Verdant. As you say, top lane and support can kind of have their pick of who they want to send it in. I do think now that, seeing the Gwen, putting the Sylas into that in top lane could be a really fun little thing. Alternatively, though, we're forgetting the Akali. You could also just put the Akali top, put the Sylas into mid and the Ornn at support. So Verdant have got this really, really fun draft where, despite being on blue side, they have this Gigaflex.
I don't know how I feel about Good Chi's draft. I mean, they've got so much AP mid-top jungle, and then their only AD is a Jhin.
He can't just go the Shiv build this game, right? Like, he just won't be enough AD damage.
Especially into a tanky team like Ornn, Skarner.
Something that Jhin historically is not great at dealing with.
He's not great
Granted, though, there's a Gwen. Gwen's going to melt through tanks no matter how much AP how much MR they build.
But yeah, 2 words for you there, Brackish. True damage. There you go.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter, does it?
That does not. But in the meantime, I want to look on into the mid lane here specifically because we already sung the praises of Bear Tree. Chova, though, 17-year-old prodigy. Come on in. And on the Syndra right now, we don't know who he's into. Would you, if you're trying to play mid lane as Syndra right now, who would you rather see on the opposite side to you?
Well, I mean, I'm just going to go over to Lolalytics. I'm going to go to Emerald Plus. I'm going to put on Strong Against, really get a grip of those statistics right now. I'm going to give you some percentages here, Brackish. So, in terms of what we've got on offer here, if it's going to be Ornn, Akali, or Sylas, it seems...
You don't put Ornn mid here, no way.
Well, there's no way you put Ornn mid, but let's see Sylas, right? I mean, Syndra wins 47%. One of her worst matchups into Sylas. On the contrary, when it comes to Akali, well, let me find, where's Akali? 50%, so it's not much of a difference, but I mean, maybe a little bit more.
I think that tells us what we might need to hear, though. Bear Tree has been known, I said, doesn't shy away from an aggressive matchup. And I would very much like to see that the Sylas go into mid lane, allow him to be super aggressive. They've got Skarner and Ornn as this big tanky front line, so you can just kind of chill out with Tofu and Little Pants doing all of the tanking. And then you've got two big backline threats in the Akali and the Sylas. You've got Fuyu being pretty well protected on the Varus. The most common build we've seen of late is the more on-hit style. But as you said, the lethality build is somewhat coming back to favor. But with these options, and especially if you're being dove by an Akali Sylas, are you really trying to go for the Varus?
Well, I mean, the Varus is a pick. It's one of those, doesn't do that well in solo queue. You have a look at Varus win rate in solo queue, it's terrible, right? But then you bring it into pro play and you've got the ultimate, you've got so much CC, and I mean, to get dove is quite rough as a Varus. You've not really got much, unless you can get that ultimate off. You get that ultimate off on a dive, it spreads. That could really be a big game changer. But I think Verdant have been very clever in this draft. If this lane assignments go ahead, and it is the Akali top and the Sylas mid, because when we looked at this draft, we instantly thought, right, Akali, that's going to go against Syndra, because we saw the Syndra mid pick, we saw the Akali as the answer. We instantly thought, right, that's Akali mid for Bear Tree, Syndra, Akali, here we go. And I think that's also what Gucci thought as well. But then even when we came into phase 2, we saw Sylas on, we thought, right, that's all top Sylas support. But that's now when we think about it a little bit more, I mean, I'm not too sure. I mean, because Akali does very, very well against Gwen top in that extended lane.
Does have a good time. I love to see the BM coming through in chat. Brod and friends, Verdant will win despite Bear Tree's best efforts. I mean, if they win, that is a clean 4-0. They will be home and dry at the top of Group B, which is, of course, what you're going to be after Gucci. They really need to claim a win here, though, to have their fate be their own in this group. Because if they lose, then granted, somebody else has to lose from the upcoming matchup. But having that leg up is always going to be very nice.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of pressure on Gucci here. And like I said, I mean, with 2 new members to the team, they're coming in and they're playing a very important game. They didn't have the benefit of playing 3 games before this to, get used to the tournament. They're coming straight in and really they're being told by their teammates, listen, guys, we need to win this. And we're going against the hardest team, the team that's 4-0. And, the worst feeling possible in a tournament is to be watching your fate. You don't want to be watching. You want to be playing your fate, right? I mean, you see it in all sports. And, Gucci or any team, they won't want that. The Gwen, I don't know. I think maybe Verdant have been playing the mind games. They wanted the Gwen to be picked because they want it to be against the Kali. I'm not too sure. I mean, listen, if this all goes ahead and Verdant win, I mean, they have got someone from Gucci spying. I mean, there's some inside people, okay? I mean, when I used to play, football, right, we had the scouts, and there'd always be the joke of, there'd be a spy over the fence with his binoculars like this. And I don't know. It seems like a little bit of that going on, and it could go very, very well. And I'm predicting the Verdant win, because I've always predicted them to lose, because I've seen the drafts and I've not liked them. And they've always won. So I'm predicting the Verdant win. Refresh is the best.
You won't get fooled again.
Bear Tree is the best. Verdant 4-0. Gucci, you need to get this roster warm because you're going to need it for these upcoming games because Verdant are going to smash the living hell out of you.
Conversely, though, I think everyone's going to be thinking as you do. Good Chi, the pressure, while it should be on them, also kind of isn't. Because if they lose, they can go, new players, we're recalibrating, it's not too bad. We can win our last game and we'll be fine. Oh, actually, no, this is that last game, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. Yes. But they can still, just be chilling. If they win, they can go, Verdant carried, lol, easy peasy, something like that, and potentially carry on for a big push into the bracket stage. Right now, however, that's not going to matter, Ben, as we are on to the Rift for our first game of the day, and Verdant have no patience whatsoever. And, Scouse is already caught by the Sylas support. Already forced the flash. And, by the way, lane assignments we were talking about. They're sending Refresh top into a potentially bad matchup with the Gwen. Battery is on the Akali, and it is indeed Sylas support for Little Pants. What a... I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and we saw Brian there E over the Baron pit so he could get into the bush unseen from scouts, and that's why they were able to get the flash there. Very, very creative. Worked like a dream, as if they, maybe practiced this. I'm not too sure, but Brian with some very creative ways to surprise his opponent. I mean, we've seen this guy play very, very well over the course of this tournament. And listen, I know we maybe say Refresh maybe in a tough... Ooh, water here.
Okay, right. If the Abduct had landed there, perhaps that could have been a pretty rough early trade. But Marrow and Water, they're doing okay for now. They'll just be able to settle into a fairly standard lane. We can't understate, though, is Scouse is now without Flash, which means early Sejuani ganks are considerably less scary.
Yeah, Sejuani, a champion that you can buffer Flash with a lot of abilities, the Q, the W. So it's, definitely a big hit. And listen, I know what we said about the top lane matchup being a little bit rough for Refresh, but to be honest, I've seen this guy play bad matchups and he's done quite well. It's level 2 bot lane.
Coming through. Marrow putting the damage down. Fuyu has to cleanse the ignite damage. And, well, Flash is not forced. But now Marrow has way more health available than Fuyu. As long as he's not caught by a Wayward Abduct, this should be a pretty good situation for them. Although, do need to keep an eye out as Tofu is clearing out his top camps quite slowly, though.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Good Chi will take that trade bot lane. They get a really good level
2 Scouse.
Lead.
Like to see this. Calculating that the Skarner clear is quite slow. Scouse going to walk in, take away the chickens. Tofu is here, but too late, and Chova is the one to get the first move out of mid lane. Tofu might be in some trouble here, has to flash, gets permafrosted. Now Beartree needs to watch out. The stun not going to come out from Chova here, and the aggression can continue. Water, though, quite low. Little Pants is looking for it. The Abduct will land. There's a lot of stuns. The flash away. The damage is there. First blood is picked up by Water. Marrow trying to move away, but Fuyu has been able to stack up the new lethal tempo, and there'll be a double kill for the Varus.
Yeah, 2v2 bot kills. I mean, we talked about how good that level 2 trade was.
Why is Refresh there? Hold up. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. I think
Refresh was backing in the brush. Observer, can we see that for a second there? If we can scroll across to the red side chickens. Like, Scouse was taking his chickens and Refresh recalled in that very brush. That is ballsy.
I'm not really sure why Refresh was there. I'm kind of intrigued to see.
He stepped out for vision. He's got that ward on the red buff. Water is indeed in a little bit of a rough situation. Doesn't get caught by the Abduct, however. Should be able to walk back to lane without too much grief. Takes the damage from Tofu, but of course, very early doors. So Skarner's not doing that much damage.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened then. You know, with the 2v2 bot kill, I was so focused on that, and then all of a sudden we got a, you know, weird mid solo kill.
Chova too low on mana, I think. Hasn't got enough for the Dark Sphere. Flashes, one more auto would do it, and he gets it. 17 years old, and he's already diffing Bear Tree.
Something you don't see very often is Bear Tree giving away kills like this. I mean, it was very, very close, of course. You know, literally went down to the final autos, final spells, but definitely a big confidence boost for Chova as we see a dive in the top lane. This game is just chaos.
I mean, that's what happens against the Ornn.
Refresh!
Jhin able to dodge away, but the tower cannot be immune. And that's why it is really difficult to dive in Ornn. I think that was just poorly planned. I assumed that Scouse was the one who was meant to take aggro, but it ended up being Shin that was the one targeted. Tamara and Water now going to be targeted by the incoming Skarner. Water will be caught, flung back, and taken down. Killing spree for the Varus. Mara does not have enough damage right now to trade back.
Yeah, I mean, chaotic game so far. We've seen solo kill mid lane, a dive top lane from Good Chi that doesn't go well at all. I mean, Ornn has obviously got access to... Well, 3-0 Varus. Ornn has got access to so many knockups, so many ways of, you know, extending trades where you can't hit him back. And, you know, like I said, when he gets Tower Dough, it makes it very, very difficult. Especially, I mean, he didn't even have his ult then as well. So you got to take that into account. And then we saw a bot gank from Verdant, from Tofu, and looked really good. Solid kill onto Water. And Good Chi, I mean, they've been trying things. I think Chova getting that solo kill mid is really going to give him that boost that they needed, but then two plays that don't work. It's interesting to see as Scouse looking at the Void Grubs. Tofu is topside though. I'm not sure if he's just going to want to trade the Drake, however, because his
does not have priority in either of his solo
doesn't
lanes.
have priority at all, so it's probably going to be a Drake trade. But what a chaotic game. Chaotic start. 6 kills in under 6 minutes.
I mean, this does feel very Four Nations. Good Chi. They're actually holding pretty much bang even in terms of gold, despite a couple of extra kills, of course, being secured by Fuyu. Little Pants making his way back to bot lane after going for his little travels. Has been able to set up a little bit of vision, should they be able to start off the Drake, but right now, actually, Tofu is looking to get in, but there are numbers of Good Chi able to move. We see Scouse making his way down. Chova, it seemingly has made the decision not to over-aggress for this one. Bear Tree lurking in the waters. It doesn't going to be able to find prey for now. I think Good Chi, they don't really need to worry about this Drake, and they are going to be content to give it up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Infernal Drake is actually the most slain Drake in Worlds at the moment, and that's what I put for my pick him, so I'm very happy. I don't know what it is about Infernal Drake. I think people just always see it.
It's kind of random, though, isn't it? It's just whichever Drake spawns the most.
Well, you say that, but I think there's a mental thing. When people see Infernal Drake, their eyes light up. You know, it's more damage, right? I don't know. I think Infernal Drake is one of the most, you know, like pulling in Drake.
I think most people would agree with you on that one. Hextech as well, I think sits pretty high up that list. Right now, yeah, gold remaining pretty much bang even. Grub secured for Good Chi, Dragon secured for Verdant. And let's look to the future. Let's do a bit of crystal ball seeking. Dennis, in 10 minutes time, if you are Good Chi, who is the person you are looking most towards? Like, is it just get Chova more fed, get him his splinters as quickly as possible?
Well, I think it's going to be really hard, even if they get Chova fed, because they're so tanky on Verdant, right? I mean, if he's using a full Syndra combo on a Skarner who's having a pretty solid game, that's not going to kill the Skarner, right? And it's kind of what we've talked about in the draft in terms of the weaknesses of Good Chi's draft, where they've got a lot of bursts. I mean, they don't really have a proper ADC, as we see Refresh with the Call of the Forge God.
Big catch onto Chova. This is not a mobile carry. After being able to walk on out, Tofu will clamp down. Secure himself his first kill. Little Pants looking to go forward quite aggressively, considering Fuyu was not there to assist. But, of course, this Varus very strong right now, already building up towards the blade. And Water completely disrespecting it, taking the Chain of Corruption to the face. And that will be a 4th kill for the Varus.
Yeah, Verdant pulling further and further ahead. We saw Refresh with run to the mid lane, but I can't even speak because Bear Tree is already fighting Shin.
And he is. Perfect execution going to be called through. Tries to find the damage, but can't quite do it. Able to flash, avoid the scatter the weak. Verdant, their prowess starting to show. There's a reason they're 3-0 right now. Good cheat. They were fighting well initially, but Chova might not be respecting enough. Water stepping in to try and do what he can. Unleashed Power is available for Chova, but can't quite get it onto Tofu. Instead, Water is just going to be here to ensure that Bear Tree and Lillipounce can't get anything onto this Syndra.
Yeah, this is what Verdant love doing. I mean, you guys, you come into this team, you think, right, okay, they're the strongest team in our group. We need to maybe try and play, you know, slow, but you can't do that against Verdant, you know, especially when, you know, Brian's on picks like the Silas, who's so aggressive, always roaming. Refresh, every time he pushes in a top wave, is always in that topside river. We saw that's how they picked out Chova before with the Call of the Forge God. They've got so much long-range pick potential. Once Refresh was able to land that ultimate, it was so easy for Tofu and Bear Tree to just finish off the kill nicely. And Bear Tree kind of overextended, but just got away with it with a very, very nice timed flash. And listen, you know, Verdant, like I said, very aggressive team in the early game. You can't really play safe against them. And Chova's really got to be careful in this mid lane because he's got a target on his head.
That he does. Call of the Forge God is available, but right now, Refresh is working with Tofu to secure an extra grub or two. One did get picked up by Scouse here. However, Lillipounce gets locked up and taken down. Glacial Prison. That will be a second kill across. Sorry, first kill rather, for Scouse. But that extra grub that was secured means that, of course, Gucci will get a little bit of Void Might assistance when they come across the rift. Tofu is going to walk into Scouse and Water right now. They actually choose to depart, worrying a little bit about perhaps Fuyu coming up. This is Varus. He's very, very spooky. 4-0. Has the Blade of the Ruin King completed already. And it's definitely, when we get to bigger skirmishes, to team fights, going to be the one that Gucci really have to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a great gank there from Gucci, though, in the mid lane, using the Scatter of the Weak CC to chain it with the Sejuani ultimate. Beautiful kill onto a very overextended Brian the Lion on this Silas pick. I mean, he's literally just in your face 24/7. He was bound to pay the price at some point, so maybe he'll feel like he's on a bit more of a leash now and will not be as aggressive, but we'll have to see as we... I doubt it. Yeah, that's a very good point. This guy loves being aggressive.
This is Lillipounce we're talking about.
Well, I know him as Brian the Lion.
I mean,
that's what I see.
The principle is the same. Bear Tree is going to have to use the perfect execution defensively right now. In fact, might look to turn it around as Tofu and the Lillipounce make their way in. TP coming in from Refresh, and the stolen Glacial Prison onto Chova. He is able to get out of this one as the curtains are called. Water going in, and the shutdown is found by Shin onto the Varus. The Gwen now starting to open up. Tofu is caught and taken down by Chova, and all of a sudden, Verdant are the ones forced back. Just as the Drake spawns, it's a Chemtech, so you're less happy to take it, but with all those kills, with Bear Tree dropping as well, Gucci suddenly looking real good.
Gucci, big fight for them. I mean, we spoke about that stolen ultimate from Brian, but there's no follow-up, so honestly, Chova was just able to shake it off like nothing even happened and rejoin the fight, like, and once he lost that ultimate, it didn't really matter at all as we see a pause. They're interesting. I think Verdants are maybe just thinking, what the hell happened?
Potentially. I mean, we didn't even see what happened. Shin, of course, teleported in. We didn't see exactly where, but was able to find a great flank on towards Fuyu. We are going to go back and potentially see this fight. Again, I think we're a little bit late. We are going to skip back. Thank you very much, production. There it is. We see Bear Tree running away. And this is where the fight starts. We've got the TP coming in from Refresh, but all of this damage is going on to Scouse.
Yeah, that's what you don't want, all the damage going on to the tank. And Shin is just able to get on food for free whilst Water lands a massive ultimate onto Refresh, Brian the Lion. You know, there's just no peel at all for the Varus, who got so far ahead in the bot lane. But if you already see
here.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Oh, he just gets scored by the start of the week. Combo,
okay.
Chova, fair play. But yeah,
Chova
I mean,
for
listen,
him.
you can have as many kills on your ADC as you want, but if your peel gets CC'd and knocked up, then, you know, and a Gwen is able to get on him for free, there's nothing a Varus can do. You can be 10-0 and it doesn't matter. As we're back into the game, Refresh is being ganked.
He is, but the chase doesn't seem to be that potent. Shin doesn't have the ultimate right now, so they simply don't believe that they can kill him, and honestly, I kind of would agree with that. Rift Herald has just spawned onto the Rift. Tofu is nearby, but spotted out by water. There are more members of Good Chi towards topside right now, so I think, again, Verdant, they just need to recenter themselves as... What? Fuyu, why were you there? Why were you behind the turret?
Yeah, Chova, I mean, I don't know if they just think, you know, we're going to just prey on the 17-year-old. Honestly, I think it's a little bit harsh, but Chova's just shoving it right back in their face. Picking up kills on Bear Tree like Bear Tree's a no-one, and picking up kills on Fuyu like he's not 4-1. But interesting, I think Bear Tree, they really want Chova.
Careful, though. Absconder Duck going forwards. The damage is there. Bear Tree looking for the angle in, but the slow from the orb gets it, makes him safe. Meanwhile, Shin knocking down the first turret topside. Verdant, they're trying to make things happen. But Good Chi, these may be substitutions coming in. Shin is having a good time. Chova back on the roster has assumed his position as the carry. And is in a perfect position to do it as well. We have got the Static Shiv start for the Jhin here. I think he does need to index into some more AD, and sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to force another play onto Chova, I think, with Fuyu bot side. I mean, I think he's just being pinged back. They just don't want to go for it anymore. They've tried so much to shut down Chova. They had it before on the top side with the Refresh ultimate, but they've tried again recently, and it's just not worked at all, and it's even backfired massively, and now Chova's 4-1. And Verdant, you know, they looked really good at the start of this game. I mean, they pulled ahead, 6-3 kills up, 6-2 kills up, I think, actually. Had a 1k gold lead. They were getting some really, really nice picks, and then that team fight in the bot side river, there seems to have really shaken up our, so far, perfect team in this group.
Perfection might be slipping out of their grasp. They're only 2k behind right now, so let's not count them out by any means. Shin, though,
team's definitely got potential, but Shin showing why Gwen is so good versus these tanks.
You already said it. True damage. Tofu trying to make his way forwards. Call of the Forge God will land onto Shin, who is trying to make that angle happen. Gets knocked into the wall, and there's a lot of Verdant members topside right now, so the kill will be secured. However, Shelly dropped in the mid lane. 3 members there mean that they will be able to secure the tier 1. They are going to try a second charge instead. Never mind. Scouse just going to use it as a means of transportation towards bottom lane. I'm not sure if the charge is going to last long enough to get him all the way there. Tokyo drifting, and he is able to get it. The last outer turret going to be secured by Good Chi also.
Good Chi doing really well there. I mean, Shin kind of overextended because he got a really, really good chunk out of Refresh. Thought he could finish off the kill, but...
Water.
Brian.
Be a little bit careful. Immediate glacial prison to the face. And the members of Verdant not quite there in time. Bear Tree has to use the Shroud to get out. It's really decisive from Good Chi right now. They are coordinating their plays very well. And Verdant, yeah, they're not used to having to play to someone else's tempo, it seems.
It's one of those games where I start analysing the previous play and there's already another play happening and we've just got to sort of put it on hold. But yeah,
4 Nations, baby.
It's the 4 Nations, baby. I mean, I love it here. There's, you know, I mean, like I said, I was trying to comment. What I was going to say was, yeah, Shin was overextended top, chunked out Refresh massively, thought he'd finish off the kill, then gets collapsed on by 4 people. But Good Chi do so well to respond with the Herald mid, seeing that they'd use so many resources top lane. They get the tier 1 mid, and then completely unpredictably, this Fuyu might be caught here again.
Both summoners burnt, Cleanse and Flash gone. Shin again being targeted, but the Hallowed Mist going to be able to do some good work.
Doesn't have a tier 1.
Stolen Needlework is going to be able to lock Shin out. It's taking a lot of effort to kill him, though. In the meantime, Fuyu gets taken down in the mid lane. They are absolutely doing it again, Venice. The tier 2 goes down in mid lane. Scouse is pushing in bot lane as well. They can once again just rotate it down. And all of these bodies that are having to be committed by Verdant, they are being properly punished.
Yeah, I don't really know what Verdant are doing here. They went for the same play again of collapsing onto Shin, but again, Good Chi responding in the same way. And for the first play, they got a tier 1 mid and a tier 1 bot. And for this second play, they've got a tier 2 mid and a tier 2 bot. And you're definitely way more happier as Good Chi. They've gotten so much more gold shared out across the board than what Verdant got for killing Shin.
Yeah. I mean, Shin is typing worth in all chat all day long here. As Good Chi, they extend their gold lead to 3,000 right now. The next Drake is up and available, of course. We are on the Hextech Rift. Means either team are going to really want to stack this up. That soul is nothing to sniff at.
Yeah, I mean, Verdant, macro, very, very questionable. Did they need to send that many members to go kill Shin, or did they even need to go for Shin in the first place? I think that is what the questions will be asked when they review this, but it seems like they will be giving this Hextech Drake, and it's only second Drake, so not too bad, but Hextech Soul, especially when you get 3 as well, is incredibly powerful.
Also, just individual Hextech Drakes are really nice. The extra ability haste, the extra attack speed can be invaluable in those small percentage situations.
Yeah, definitely. Brian has been overextending a couple of times this game, and
Look at
maybe
it,
it's
though.
Fuyu this time.
Tofu is too far up. Will be able to land the Impale onto 2, but it extends his life for only a moment longer. Chova now unstoppable. And I don't know if it's prophetic from what I said earlier. It seems like Verdant do not feel comfortable playing somebody else's game.
Well, they're playing as if they're ahead. I mean, Tofu's in the enemy jungle when he's not got a tier 1 top or any mid tower other than his tier 3. I mean, Brian the Lion, like I was going to say, has been kind of high up all game. I mean, we saw him get caught multiple
He's already
times.
rushed the Storm Surge. Oh boy.
You gotta rate it at this point, to be honest.
I mean, he's going to do damage, but he's not going to be surviving all that way. Once Aftershock goes down, once he no longer has access to the Kingslayer, he might just be in some serious trouble. Chova going golden for a second as Water trying to cover him. The Rel will be able to do good work. Glacial Prison comes through, but it's Scouse that it finds.
What?
The Chain of Corruption misses. Water is still alive. He will almost certainly go down, but a lot has been given to do this. Shin is now trying to open up. Needlework has been used as the curtains are called. Shots being fired all the way through Verdant. Refresh has to flash away from the damage of the Baron. It is a kill picked up onto Water, but there's not all that much right now, it seems, the Verdant can do with it. Tofu still looking for the angle in. Impale not quite available. Shin gets caught by the Kingslayer, though. Hallowed Mist going to keep him alive for a moment. He survives for a fraction longer, but Chova is full health for the most part. Marrow dropping low, but Beartree unable to find the damage. The Impale misses. Chova is sidestepping them left, right, and center. Now dominating as again, Good Chi, by the pixels of their movement, are able to find the advantages. And
sorry, I'm just adjusting my glasses. I mean, I'm reading Chova, but that looks like Chovy.
You got glasses?
No, I don't have glasses. That was the joke. This kid, oh my days. I mean, so much to break down there.
He got something to prove.
So much. I mean, Call of the Forge God gets called down. He uses the Zhonyas. Then he's able to use his flash and movement so well. I mean, Scouse tanks the Sejuani stolen ultimate from Brian the Lion, so it means Chova's able to get out. Not only does he get out from all of that, but then sidesteps Tofu's ult. Absolutely incredibly played by the Good Chi mid laner. I mean, if you came into this game and told me, you know, who was the mid laner who, you know, had more of a you know, status, more reputation, I would have given it to the Syndra. I mean, that was played absolutely incredibly. Meanwhile, Beartree just seems very, very tunnel vision this game. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe this is a Kali pick. He's just so determined to kill Chova, and he just can't make it happen. And again, we were seeing it right here now.
He's looking.
Beartree, you're
Believe
2 levels
me,
down.
Trying. Damage coming through. The Dark Spheres continue flying, and now that there's a Zhonya's there is basically no threat from the Perfect Execution. Now, 4v4 might be getting set up in the mid lane. Once again, though, Brian the Lion, too low, gets taken down. Water flashing in. Fuyu is dropped Chova is here. Beartree decides not to TP because
Beautiful.
the play is already over before he can hit that key. All of Gucci still up and decently healthy. They can start up the Baron. Someone is going to have to go back and deal with this Akali. It will be Chova. But again, Gucci, you turn these scoreboards off, you turn these nameplates off, and I think a lot of people would assume it's Verdant on the red side this game.
Yeah, I mean, Good Sheet have been playing this game so well. They had a little bit of a hiccup in the early game, getting caught out a bit, but since that fight in the bot side river, since the plays on Shin that don't work, they trade so much back in the macro-wise, and then they're backing it up in the team fights as well. They've understood that if they just ult Brian the Lion with Sejuani ult, they can one-shot him so fast that he just can't do anything, get any value. He's only level 9 as well. I mean, he's so squishy. Well,
they've also understood the real assignment, the whole objective of this game now. Chova, 3.5k ahead of Beartree, set up to be this immense damage threat. Is basically able to melt anyone he chooses with the Unleashed Power at this point. Can we double check onto Chova right now very quickly? Sorry, I just want to see if he's fully stacked out the Splinters of Wrath at this point. 114. Okay, 6 more stacks. 6 more stacks and he has fully stacked it out. And, well, anyone that gets hit with the Syndra ult probably just dies if there's 4 or more orbs down.
I mean, I've never played Syndra. Could you explain it to a noob?
So you have the scaling up with the Splinters of Wrath as you're hitting champions and killing minions. The end one is basically your ultimate gets free Elder. If you knock someone to below 30% health, they just get executed.
Wow, fair play. I mean, Tofu is able to get a Hextech Drake, so that'll definitely help in extending the soul, but they lose an inhib
But at
top,
what cost?
an inhib mid. It's so much. I mean, I'm guessing at this point you're just glad to get something on the board if you're Verdant, but really, coming into this, I mean, Good She had a terrible loss in their last game.
I correct. Thank you, production, for popping that up on the screen briefly. Chova already has the execute. At 120 stacks, he gets just a free Rabadon's passive of like an extra 30% AP.
Yeah, Syndra is busted. Holy moly.
Note that Chova is probably about 500 gold away from completing an actual Rabadon's as well.
Yeah, this guy is so strong. I mean, coming into, they didn't have Chova in their last game, and it is showing. These guys look like a different team. They've got essentially more than half of their team changing since the last game, and it's really showing. They're taking on one of the best teams, if not the best team in the tournament, and they're really showing them up.
Prior to today, certainly the best team in the group by your results. Stun comes through, Call of the Forge God is denied. Chova not going to get caught by the Varus ultimate, and the fight will break down. Again, Chova is able to play from a safe distance. Shin and Water, they're doing their job.
Beartree
now going deep into the backline. Chova goes golden. He's very low, but will be able to flash out. Refresh, trying to find the angle, but again, it's not quite there. Scan of the Week is fantastic. The shutdown will be found, but it's Scouse and Maro against Refresh here. He's very tanky. He will take a while to take down. In fact, he may be able to trade it back for Scouse. He won't be able to get Maro, however. So once again, it's Gucci taking the fight. Okay, big shutdown picked up onto Chova. But I mean, you're going to lose your last inhib turret here. I think Little Pants might... I was worried for a second there that Little Pants might try for the 1v1. But at this point in the game, Maro, at 3 items, actually finally has an amount of AD. And he's able to deal with these squishier members especially pretty dang well.
I mean, that really should have been the fight to end the game from Good She. They kind of didn't play the fight as well as they've been playing the previous fights, especially Chova there. Got caught by the Tofu ultimate and then got instantly knocked up by Refresh. I mean, he did get to use the Zhonya's, but he was already 200 HP, already dead. So, not played as well. They do win the fight in the end, but by slim margins, considering how far they are ahead. I mean, they were 10k up in that. So, Verdant, they'll definitely take a 5-for-4 in the state that they're in right now. I still think Good She, it's pretty difficult to throw the game from here. I mean, they've got so much on the map. They're so far ahead. Chova is scaling into oblivion. The only way that Verdant can really, find something from this game is if they start making some incredible picks and they're able to do it consistently to get those tanks even tankier, because you saw how difficult it was for the Jin to kill tanks. But Scouse finding
He's on
Bedry.
vision. All of the CC right into the face of the Akali. Fuyu is able to open back up, but it's all damage going down onto water for the most part. Mara able to free fire. Tofu looking for the angle, but Chova does not get caught. Will have to try and step this one through, though. Shin body blocking for him. Tofu not quite able to find his mark. Is going to be able to shut it down eventually, but Refresh is again left alone inside the base. Double kill for Scouse. The waves coming forwards. Shin will secure the ace, and Good Chi will say no thank you to Verdant. No clean sweep for you. You will end the groups 3-1.
What a game. What a game from Good Chi. A totally different team as to what we saw last time, taking on one of the best teams in the tournament, one of the best teams in the group, definitely. They look so, so good. Macro, so good in team fights. I think the comms definitely looked a lot more secure, a lot more better. And, I mean, I was not expecting that coming into this. The one time that I say that Verdant are going to win, I've been doubting them all tournament. And then they go and lose to Good Chi. I can't believe it.
It's the Ben curse. I'm calling it now.
It is. I need to stop predicting
Pray
games.
that he does not predict your team, ladies and gentlemen, because apparently that is one way to set them up for a loss. Verdant do not complete Group B, win or lossless. Good Chi, I mean, Chova especially had such a fantastic performance, even in the fights where he died. So much had to be committed to take him down. That, man, just
something, right? Yeah,
man.
I know those team fights pretty much consisted of Tofu going so hard for Chova and Bedry going so hard for Chova. But Chova used Scatter the Weak beautifully in so many different occasions, so many different team fights. The Zhonya's was such a good pickup early on. It got tons of value because he was the main target. He knew that coming into it. I think the main thing that really increased that gold, though, is we've got to go back to the decision-making to go onto Shin, to go onto the Gwen, to commit 4 people, to kill an overextended Gwen maybe, but they lost so much in gold, so much on the map. And a team like Verdant, they're not used to playing with no mid-tier 2 tower and having nothing for themselves. And they got caught because of that. And I think that's really what made it a massive stomp in the end for Good Chi, but fantastic from them. Really exciting to see what this pretty much new roster can do. I mean, it seemed like that, Brackish.
Signs are good. Signs are very, very good for the Chi, as we will continue to see them, of course, as the split progresses. We've got plenty more games to come for the rest of the evening, though. Paragon about to go up against Belfast Storm. We're going to throw it to a break. When we return, we'll be back with that game for you. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you in a bit.
Give me a clear night underneath all the stars. I don't want no concrete jungles, no suburbia. I just want somewhere that the blue skies are. So come with me to a place afar, where the palm trees dance and sway. So run with me. If we leave right now, we might make it in time. The sunset is fading, but the light's not gone. The ocean waves have just begun. The water is calling, the night is young. So if I lay down, will you come? So if I lay down, will you come? So if I lay down, will you come? I don't wanna leave this place, I don't wanna go. For some reason I felt like that I've always known. This is where we're meant to stay, where we should be. This place is where the sun shines forever free. The sunset is fading, but the light's not gone. The ocean waves have just begun. The water is calling, the night is young. So if I lay down, will you come? Follow, so follow. So if I lay down, will you come? Follow, so follow. So if I lay down, will you come? So if I lay down, will you come? So if I lay down, will you come? The sunset is fading, but the light's not gone. The ocean waves have just begun. The water is calling, the night is young. So if I lay down, will you come? Underneath all this, I got lost tonight. Under the stars up in the sky. Directions hard to find. Under the stars up in the sky. I got lost tonight. Under the stars up in the sky. Directions hard to find. Under the stars up in the sky. I don't know where to take this, I don't wanna break this. We're living in the moment, we're living in the moment. Your head is on my shoulder, but we're getting older. Baby, it's you and I. Yeah, we're stars in the sky. Oh, you and I. Yeah, we're stars in the sky. You see that you're leaving me. The same thing you said last night. You can't do it peacefully. You won't go without a fight. So when I go, I know you'll follow me. I don't want slamming doors. No, no, just wait and see. You'll feel it naturally. There's no one else I see. I know you'll follow me. I don't know where to take this, I don't wanna break this. We're living in the moment, we're living in the moment. Your head is on my shoulder, we're never getting older. Baby, it's you and I. You and I. Yeah, we're stars in the sky. Oh, you and I. Yeah, we're stars in the sky.
I'll be there when the lights don't shine. I'll be there in the sleepless nights. I'll be there, make you feel alright. I'll be there, I'll be there. I'll be there when the lights don't shine. I'll be there in the sleepless nights. I'll be there, make you feel alright. I'll be there, I'll be there.
I'm feeling it. My bones telling me it's right. It's so different. But when you take me to the light, it's like a cigarette. And I'm burning at your lips. That's so innocent. And you kick it up, and now I want to show you all what you deserve. And know we got so much to learn. And just like when we said I do, and it's only you that can do it like that. Yeah. I like it with you. I like it with you. I like it with you. In the sand and we'll dance. We ain't got no plans. You. I like it with you. I like it with you. And the hours will melt all night long. I like it when you close all the curtains.
Welcome back, everybody. Ready for game number 2. As was, I saw there was some concern in the Twitch chat. Do not worry, folks. Paragon versus Belfast Storm. They just got switched around. They are who are coming up next.
Yeah.
But worth pointing out that these are teams that we didn't necessarily expect to be sat at 1 and 2 at this point in the tournament.
No, definitely not. I mean, Broad and Friends, a team that came up from Division 2, Good She, pretty new team, so we expected maybe them to have a few more losses than what they do have. As we saw, Good She just took a massive win off the team that was 3-0. So yeah, Belfast Storm and Paragon, both 1 and 2, both really, really needing to win this game. I mean, this is a really important game.
If they lose it, then at the end of the first round robin, that's another correction, by the way. Brackish is just dumb. It is double round robin. This is going to be the end of the first round robin. Whoever loses this game is going to have sole position of last place in the group.
And you really don't want that to be you. I mean, you don't want to be going in last place, especially a team like Belfast Storm, team like Paragon. I mean, Belfast Storm was really, really close to, well, I wouldn't say close to beating Verdant, but they put up a good fight against Verdant. But I mean, power levels, right? I mean, Verdant just got absolutely smashed. So it's one of those tournaments, but you got to love it. There's no clear front runner in this group right now. Verdant massively shaken up by that last win, that last loss, sorry. And now I think Belfast Storm and Paragon are going to really throw everything at this next game. It should be great. Draft should be really good. I think something to point out is that what Belfast Storm like doing is picking the Poppy into the Skarner, right, in draft. And we've seen Paragon also prioritize Skarner early on in the draft. So we may see that happen early on. We may not. Maybe Paragon know about that and they don't want to face the Poppy. We'll see, Brackish. We'll see.
We've also got to account for, though, in this game, is that Paragon are not playing with their full roster. They've still got 4 players present, but we've got a whole bunch of role swaps going on. We've still got Kenji in the top lane. We've still got Sak in the support role, but Timotopper is going to complete the Penta role. He will have played every single role in the league after this game. He is moving down to AD carry for this game. Snapback is going out of the jungle and into mid lane for this game, and they've got Maru coming in, which means, of course, Last not here, not going to be playing today, and Paragon are going to have to. I mean, it's still 4/5 of the main roster, so I certainly don't expect them to need this huge adjustment period.
Yeah,
but it is going to affect potentially their draft and how they execute the game just that little bit.
Speaking of draft, we're in it right now. Let's see what happens. Will we see the Skarner early prioritize, or will we see it banned? We'll have to see. This is really exciting. I can't wait for this one. So many lane swaps on Paragon. Belfast Storm coming off that loss to Verdant. Really don't want to be last place. None of these teams want to be last place. And not seeing any bans yet. Maybe the first ban is being bought out heavily.
If I am reading this correctly, the draft hasn't actually started yet.
Oh.
So we will continue to wait on that.
Oh,
ready to come through shortly.
For a draft.
I'm looking. Well, let's look towards the most interesting places. There we go.
Yay!
Yeah. There go. I was going to say, let's look towards the top lane because Kenji and Synapse are both very big players for their teams. As we saw, Synapse Sprinters Udyr, pretty much synonymous with that champion, is taken off the board, and the Poppy that you mentioned is also banned away, which means the B1 Skarner may well be free to come through. I feel like if Mara is coming in, obviously not quite as many games played along with the team, maybe putting him on something like the Skarner, which doesn't have the highest burden of execution, could be a good move.
Yeah, but do Belfast Storm know that? Have they read that? I mean, they've not banned out Skarner yet, so maybe
Yet.
they don't.
Still got one
not
more.
yet. There's still one more ban. As obviously, you can't let Synapse get on this Udyr. We saw what he did to Gov in game one. I mean, that was like a well, no, it wasn't even Gov in game one. It was I can't remember who it was, but he absolutely annihilated him. It was incredible, and I've seen Udyr banned ever since. And that's the way it should be, you know, when you've got one tricks like this. So definitely Paragon. Not underestimating their opponent.
Always good to show that level of respect, especially to someone like Synapse, who can kind of ruin your day if he gets the pick that he wants. LeBlanc, last rotation 1 ban here from Paragon. Good to take it away from Vixen, and there we go. There's that Skarner being taken away. Belfast Storm don't want to face it if they can't take Poppy as a response.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And we see here again, Paragon, they first picked Aurora last time versus Broad and Friends, and they've done it again. Aurora locked in.
It does a lot of very good things, obviously. Outranges a lot of things if they want to send it towards the top lane. Doesn't strike me as the most Kenji champion in the world, but I mean, this guy is very versatile. He can do pretty much whatever the heck he feels like. Having that flex open on a B1 is always something that's very nice to have. So, Belfast Storm, they could potentially lock something here to try and pigeonhole this Aurora somewhere. Alternatively, though, they could go for some comfort here. Mr. Freeze does love that Ezreal.
Yeah, loves the Ezreal, doesn't he? He went for the Kai'Sa last time, so it's interesting to see that he's gone for Ezreal this time. But Paragon, they've still got Yone available, and they picked that in the first phase last time. Will they do it again? We'll have to see. It's obviously a really good pick still as Gragas hovered, and a good champion. You gotta love the Bomber. I love a game with a Bomber in it. Paragon, what will you do? Where is that Gragas going? Will it be going? We've seen it support, we've seen it jungle, and we've seen it top. So potentially a 3-way flex. I'm not sure how deep Belfast Storm's players are individually with this pick, but Brackish, maybe you do.
It strikes me as being something that's quite good for top lane right now, but as you say, this is a champion that can be used in all 3 of those roles, and you're not really compromising anything by doing so. Paragon, they're going to go for cheeky little Jhin for Timatopper this time around. Of course,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the hard carry that I'd love to see Timatopper on.
Ooh, Zoe.
But, I mean, picking it first rotation would be interesting to me, but they are feeling confident enough to do it. I mean, the setup combination between the Jhin and the Zoe can be very, very nasty. If you land the Trouble Bubble, you can follow it up with a pretty easy Deadly Flourish. Belfast Storm looking to find something to go into that. Obviously, Zoe is one of those extremely obnoxious champions that you don't see very often, but whenever you do, you're reminded of why you would ban it if it were picked for.
Yeah, Zoe, normally a champion that is played by the 1 trick, 2 tricks. I think they still love Zoe. But yeah, Aurora loves mid-game. She pushes out a side lane, then looks to catch out the ADC on mid lane. And with the Jhin, it's already a very well-known combination, is able to follow up so easily. Now they've got the Zoe, that's so much long-range follow-up, as you mentioned. But they're doing it against champions that have got quite a lot of mobility, quite slippery champions. I mean, Ezreal, Ahri, Gragas, that's not very easy to lock down. And their CC on Paragon isn't, guaranteed. I mean, Zoe hitting a bubble is all you've really got. So it's going to be interesting to see if maybe Paragon have gone for something, if it'll actually work, because Belfast Storm have seemed to have answered with a little bit of a counter, maybe.
A little bit. I think Ahri does have a pretty chill time into the Zoe. It's just quite difficult to hit her with the stuff from Zoe. Continue to move yourself around. You can usually push out waves, or at least hold waves decently well. Of course, when it reaches a certain point, Zoe can just detonate the caster minions with a single paddle star. But being able to respond in kind, clear out those waves, and be able to move at a similar pace is going to be something that I think going to have a large amount of influence on these upcoming skirmishes. We see a lot of support focus here from Belfast Storm. Taric, Leona gone. Nautilus is still up. Alistair still up. What Paragon wants to round this one out with. It seems like they're trying to take the Gragas out of But they're trying to force the Gragas into the jungle. I still think this is probably just going top lane. I think Synapse has you're not going to ever die to the Aurora as Gragas, and as you get enough AP, you should just be able to kind of body her if she just tries to put you between worlds.
I think it's more if they just don't want to play against the Vi lockdown. It's so easy to just get onto Aurora with the Unstoppable, but Jarvan is the
Feels good.
answer. Great into Zoe. Obviously, if she ults out, she's just going to go back in. Aurora can hop over the Cataclysm, but again, it's pretty difficult. So lockdown for Belfast Storm. We'll see what Paragon will respond with. Poppy's still open, and I'm seeing a lot of dashes here. So, oh no, it's not open. They banned it. Never mind.
No,
well,
it
what a
was
shame.
very much banned.
What a shame.
Wukong,
I looked on Belfast Storm's side. I didn't look that maybe they had banned it themselves. But Wukong instead. I mean, this is just it's a meal, right? It's a sandwich, and they're all just going at each other. There's a lot going on here, and the Rel as well. So spicy, so much engaged from Paragon. I mean, this is going to be one hell of a game.
Just wondering now. Belfast Storm, they've got the R5. They can obviously reveal this flex however they choose. Does look like my original supposition might be the case, as the Alistair is going to be locked in there. So, Gragas going up there for Synapse, which means that he can kind of be left on his own. You shouldn't really be able to punish Kenji on this Aurora unless he is extremely pushed for no real good reason. And so just pick something for Synapse that is going to have a calm, pretty chill lane. You're going to be able to build up your AP. If you want to go like all in onto the scaling route, you can build a rower, and you can have that tankiness, have that survivability, as well as being a very tangible damage threat.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these comps looking very, very spicy indeed, like I mentioned. Gragas into Aurora, not a lane you will really see many solo kills, I'd say. But maybe I'll be proved wrong.
Probably not.
We'll have to see. Bot lane, though, 2 engaged supports on either side. That's where you're normally going to see this come through. Wukong and Jarvan definitely going to be eyeing towards those matchups, whilst mid, again, is quite safe. I mean, I'm not sure. It seemed. I mean, in terms of what it looks like bot lane gank central. Maybe that'll snowball into a bigger team fight, but we'll have to see. It's going to be really, really interesting. But again, these teams, they need to win. This is we must not stress these teams. Well, they both can't win. Someone's going to lose, and this is what they've decided with the drafts of what they've got the best chance of winning. And it just seems like a really big squish, squish, squish. Obviously, Alistair, great into Zoe, can tank the bubble and then just ult, and the Zoe bubble goes away. So I quite like that. Hopefully, we'll see Belfast Storm support abuse that, because these Zoe bubbles can be so horrible to face in the mid game once you've got, you mentioned, the Jhin follow-up, right?
Literally, one Sleepy Trouble bubble lands, and if the Paddle Star can follow it, you are just not contesting an objective. That is literally what can happen with this champion, especially if it catches onto one of your main carries or your jungler before he's, built up enough items to be at least partially resistant to that level of poke. And it really does feel, I managed to catch myself with a reference there, but it does feel like until a certain point in the game that you just, cannot withstand firepower of that magnitude.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I'm just, this is going to be a great game. Not sure when we're exactly getting into the game because we're still on spectator delay, unfortunately. I mean, maybe one day we'll be casting the LEC and we won't have this issue of having to wait 3 minutes before we see it. But you never know. Hey, Brackish, you got a dream, right?
Imagine
doing a draft and then... well, no, but imagine doing a draft and then getting straight into the game rather than
Okay, well, I've done that. You just... My boy, one of these days we will introduce you to the gloriousness that is the tournament realm.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
But, yes, today is not that day.
Oh, well.
But let's keep it holistic right now. Is there a part of this map, you said that bot lane could be ganked central. Is there any specific reason for that? Because, of course, I mean, Ezreal specifically seems like pretty damn safe.
Well, Ezreal is quite safe, yeah, but it's what else are you really going to gank? I think Ari, before level 6 is quite vulnerable, so we may see some ganks head
I
that way.
mean,
But top lane, I'm not too sure. I mean, it's very difficult lanes for Paragon to gank. We may just see a very slow
See,
early game into
this is-
objectives. I'm not too sure.
I don't think Wukong minds it too much though. Like Mario kind of needs to hit level 6 before he's gonna be
Yeah.
a real threat, unless he's coming into a fight where everyone's already low health to kind of clean up. Then lacking the CC that the Cyclone offers him is going to make him less scary. Whereas, of course, from the word go, as we know Dunlosy likes to do, it can be gank, 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 gank all early game long from this Jarvan. But it's just, that's not something that Wukong can really do.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to see if Dunlosy is able to abuse the fact that he has got stronger pre-6 ganks than his counterpart. We may see, the Wukong just choose the power farm to full clear, whilst
what I know
Dunlosy's
about
getting off some
Maru,
ganks.
He does like clearing his camps.
Don't we all, though? I mean, don't we wish we
Yes.
could just play League of
Especially-
Legends and play
the
PvE
games-
and that would just be the game?
The games in which I jungle, I do sometimes get. I think, yeah, jungle time is very much a condition that need to be treated at times. It's like, I could go to this objective, but my camps are up. I could go gank this lane, but my camps are up. Yeah, I certainly have fallen victim to it more than a few times. And yeah, it's just going to be really interesting to see how this swap up of roles affects Paragon, because obviously
Oh,
they
true.
only just acquired their first win in their last game. So they want to continue winning ways. They are going to have to do it in a slightly different way. And of course, Snepex, usually the jungler, is currently playing the Zoe. The Jhin is there for Timotopper. But for what we know of this team, Timotopper does do quite a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of enabling the team, and Jhin can certainly do that in a very good way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure how this team functions in terms of like what their secondary roles are exactly and how much experience they have on those roles. But I mean, a four-way lane swap is pretty crazy. I mean, it's something you only really see once you've secured, your safety and you just want to sort of have a laugh and mess around. But like we know, Paragon have gotten off to a slow start, losing their opening 2 games that really, I think, looking back on, they should have thought they could have done, at least getting 1 win in those first 2, but they're here now. There's nothing you can do. You've got to look forward, and definitely, I don't think they're in the situation they want to be. They're coming into a must-win game with people off-roll, so we're going to have to see how they adapt. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be great. Belfast Storm, can they abuse that? Can they abuse these people out of position as we finally, I'm so excited for this one, get it into the rift. There's the deer that we all love to see. Has it got a name, do you know, Brackish, or should we give it a name?
I feel like we need to give that to Zoe, because she's the one responsible. I don't know. Clarence is just for this game.
Clarence.
It can be Clarence for this game.
Clarence
we'll
the
see.
deer.
We'll see if Zoe wants to come up with a more permanent name for them after the fact, as we are indeed on to the Rift. Paragon and Belfast Storm. Both teams, great amount of pedigree. Of course, Paragon were 1 game away in the RPS from potentially buying themselves Division 2 promotion. Division 2, though, if what we know, NLC Div 2 may not exist come next year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There have been rumblings. It hasn't been officially confirmed yet. And certainly, I hope that it's not the case. But yeah, not going to hold out that much hope right now. But they're not all that relevant right now. But looking across these jungles, I mean, immediately I spot that Maru is looking to start opposite side to Dunlosy, which kind of checks out with what we're expecting. Obviously, Maru does not really want to find a Dunlosy as he's doing his early clear, whereas the Jarvan is going to want to just hit level 3 and try and gank somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've already thought of an even better name for the deer. What about Deirdre? Deirdre the deer. That makes a lot of sense, right? It's kind of the perfect name for a deer. But yeah, you're so right. I mean, they're opposite starting on the jungles. Obviously, they don't want to meet. Definitely Mario does not want to meet the Jarvan early on. But it's going to be, I mean, you can actually get out of the Cataclysm quite easily as Wukong, right? If you hold the clone, you can use that small dash. They can get over small terrain, including Jarvan's ultimate. So it's actually kind of, it's kind of nice. Obviously not as, you know, massive as, you know, Lee Sin Wall Hop, which is the more traditional counter into Jarvan. But as, yeah, not much going on early on. It's kind of what we expected. I mean, it is only 2 minutes, but obviously top lane is not really much going to happen. Seems like bot lane's already got that level 2. I mean, they're very zoned off here, Sak and Timmy Topra. Timmy Topra only on 4 CS. Obviously, he's got some more coming in here, but they got heavily zoned off level 1 by an Alistar of all champs.
Timmy Topra. Timotopra.
Timotopra. Oh, Topra. My bad. Topra.
Baron looking to go forward for a bit of damage. The Aftershock means that the reprisal from Timotopra and Sak not going to matter all that much. And as you say, the early shove is going to be quite hard for a Jhin to deal with. He's only got 4 shots, only has a dancing grenade. Does mean that he may end up missing out on a few CS. Kenji, of course, should have a pretty chill start to the game also. Knows that Dunlosi isn't really motivated to gank him in the super early game. And so instead, while not much is happening, what do you think about the the meta as it is currently evolving, especially after all of the items got nerfed?
Well, a lot of items, you know, I mean, I've seen a lot of YouTube channels, a lot of One Tricks talk about the item changes, but we see Baron, I mean, it's not Mr. Freeze, Arcane shifting in.
We're going to go very aggressive. Sak and Timotopra able to put some good damage back. Mr. Freeze, though, has gone for the Conqueror, which has stacked up very nicely and will mean that they're the ones to win out on this trade. Look towards the bottom side of the rift. Dunlosi is still lurking, looking for a potential dive opportunity. It seems like he is going to be unable to find it at the moment.
No, he's he's changed his mind.
Still
he wants
flashes
this
available.
wave pushed in though as soon as possible. I mean,
He's spotted out.
Freeze...
He's already been spotted out though. There's a ward right there. Sak and Timotopra know exactly what is going on. Now, if they were to fall for it, Timotopra trying to deny the recall, not quite able to do so as Vixen going to be able to land a good trade onto SnapX here. Zoe going to have to trade a lot of hit points just for the privilege of clearing his wave.
Yeah, those spells didn't look very comfortable at all. He bubbled the minion and then kind of missed the paddle star. So, interesting from SnapX. Maybe just needs to warm up a bit on Zoe. That's absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that as long as you don't die or become too far behind early on. That's totally okay. But yeah, bot lane, very aggressive. It's kind of what we expected in terms of, you know, when we went through what the lanes would offer us to engage supports. But it's Varin looking to engage as much as he possibly can onto Sak and Timmy Topra. But yeah, I mean, like I was going to say, you know, these item changes are massive. I mean, I've seen a lot of One Tricks on their YouTube channels really talk in depth about how big the nerfs are. Because obviously a lot of items that you've seen their stats go down, but the cost go up. Most notably is Lucidity Boots. But second,
taking a chunk right now. Baron is going to be the first to drop though, and Timotopra is the one putting his body in front of his support. Going to be able to ensure that they both get out. So, despite a slightly rough early lane, Paragon are the ones who come out on top.
Yeah, a great 2v2 from Paragon. Varin overextending, gets ignited, and just gets absolutely... I think he maybe burned the Aftershock earlier on, so he was actually quite squishy when he went in for the next engage. But yeah, great first blood, and it's on the ADC. That's what you want. He may be a little bit behind in CS. He's not obviously used to being in this role.
Hold on a second.
That kill's going to catch him up nicely.
A pickaxe and a longsword doesn't look that much like a static shiv to me?
It does
Wait.
not.
I can't remember what static shiv builds out of nowadays. There's been so many changes in recent
It's
years.
the small bow, I think, still, right? I'm not sure what it's called. The small one. That definitely builds into it.
There's Lookout or Scout Sling, something like that. The new item. I don't remember what it builds out of. Of course, if it were not the static shiv, then that would be a quite large divergence from what we've seen in Jhin builds recently, where they've sacrificed a lot of early damage for the utility of being able to play at range. Delosi is able to pick up the first Drake of the game, and Sack is just going to
Yeah,
no
he's in
flash,
trouble here.
no means of getting out. Mr. Freeze will be able to take a measure of revenge. Snapback stepping down towards the bottom side as Dunlosi is going to try and start off Maru's red buff. Does have support in Varen there as well. Vision should be able to spot this one out. We'll see if Maru decides that he wants to actually contest. Seems like the answer to that question is no. Of course, just coming back after base with the Sheen, was able to pick up that first 3 center grabs.
Yeah, not sure what Sack was really doing in that position. I think he was going for Vision, I think, in the river and just got completely
Really
caught
did
out.
not expect Dunlosi to be there. They did not
No,
have
not
the
at
vision
all.
on the Drake being taken, which... I mean, if your jungler is presently taking grubs and you can't see the enemy jungler, in this day and age, I'm just expecting them to be at Drake.
Yeah, I think Sack didn't really think that one through properly of, trying to be aggressive on the map bot side whilst your jungler's top side, and obviously if they're on separate sides of the map, that's not really going to happen. But Varen is looking, not going to find it though this time. But yeah, if your jungler is starting on the opposite side of the map to the enemy, and you know that, maybe they don't know that, but I think by now, 8 minutes into the game, they should know that. That it's definitely, like you said, interesting to see him completely disrespect that Dunlosi is probably bot side and pays the price.
It does. Looking across the rift right now, top lane is about as even as it can get. Kenji, to be fair, has not been able to build up a CS advantage over Synapse Sprinter, so that's just job done for Synapse. He is able to maintain a pretty fine state of affairs. Maru looking to change that though as Between Worlds comes through, trying to get out. The ultimate has already
Kenji's
been
Oom.
used. Kenji will be able, he may be but he's still got the 3-hit passive. Maru has to flash, but he will
Yeah.
be able to secure the kill. I mean, it's a while until the next objective comes up, so why not?
Yeah, Maru and Kenji both using their dashes over that small terrain. Kenji, great ultimate, but then is kind of for the rest of that fight. Luckily Maru had flash, was able to get the E into Q to finish off the kill, but almost didn't really come off. And I mean, Synapse still had flash, so maybe if he had just played flash a bit better, he could have gotten out. But yeah, Maru, Kenji, I liked it a lot. It was great lockdown. We saw that Synapse was in a bit of a weird position, and Losi was not there to respond. And overall, you're going to take that as they're pulling to about a
look.
1k gold lead now.
Maru's going top again. You're not going to repeat that. Surely not.
1 second, but Kenji doesn't have ultimate.
Okay, no, Maru's just helping Kenji at the wave out. Okay, I mean, no mana. Yeah, needs to get a recall off. That is good jungle assistance in my book. As I say, Paragon holding a slight advantage right now, but it's not anything to write home about. Less than 1,000.
No, definitely not.
We've still got a while until these next objectives come up. 140 for the Drake. Less than a minute for the second set of grubs, though. If Maru can get out onto the rift quickly enough, then they could potentially secure all 6. However, Dunlosi making his way towards the mid lane. Snapex does need to be careful. Is able to dodge away just fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we could assume with the map, right? I mean, it's going to take us wherever most damage is being dealt. I think Snapex is just able to get out quickly, but the curtain call coming in for
Just
Jimmy
for the wave.
Topra. Just for the wave.
I
He
mean,
knows
you've got
he's
Vixen and
getting
Dunlosi coming in. Flash is not available either for this. Jhin is able to dodge away pretty well, but the CC is all there. The Magnet Storm coming through, trying to keep them in place. Varen, however, with the ultimate running, is just too damn tanky. It's a double kill for Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Timmy kind of played that okay at the start. Dodged the charm, doesn't get knocked up, but it's just not enough. They're too full HP to be able to tank the tower for a long time. Use the barrier, and they couldn't even get a kill back. It's not the best, it's not the worst. Mr. Freeze is now 3-0. That is pretty bad, because he loves this Ezreal pick as well, and he's going to look very dangerous, and he knows the tech. He's got the frozen Ezreal skin, the notorious high elo, so-called smoothest Ezreal skin in the game. This guy gets it.
I mean, he's just also just like, it's just on flavor. He is Mr. Freezed.
Yeah.
Vixen A little bit of trouble here. SnapX trying to get the damage down. Maru comes in.
Flash.
However, he's going to get himself locked underneath the turret. Bit of extra damage comes through. The Ignite will not tick down for enough, however. Vixen is able to get out just fine. That's some burst damage with Paddle Star coming across the top. However, Vixen will be able to survive for now. Dunlosi starting off the Drake. He knows Maru can't be there.
Yeah, Vixen, great flash. Just able to avoid the Cyclone by a millisecond. Looked pretty bad for Maru, but he had some HP, so it wasn't too bad. And yeah, I mean, he's at no deaths in the end, mid lane, quite surprisingly, as Dunlosi is able to pick up the second Drake of the game, as we see, is that a... Wait, is the Soul? Oh, it's Infernal Soul! Exciting, exciting.
Dunlosi trying to rotate around here. Sack going to take a decent chunk for his trouble. Timotopper, though, trying to trade this one back. Oh, those Mystic shots hurt.
Yeah, don't they just? He's already completed the Trinity Force. Such a good item, such a good rush on Ezreal has been
never mind.
for a long time.
I just noticed that Timotopper did go for the Static Shiv there. The Hex Flash coming across. All the CC are dropping. Cataclysm as well will be easy enough. And again, Varren does not give a damn about your tower damage. Vixen coming over the wall will be able to secure Sack as well. Maru, with the Warrior Trickster, is able to get out. Even a little bit of a trouble bubble just to ensure Dunlosi can't continue the play.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Timotopper, you know, you wanted to play ADC to finish off your passport stamps of all roles in League of Legends. Well, welcome to ADC. You get dived a lot. It's awful. You know, you're playing a squishy champion. You don't got much playing Jhin.
Yeah.
And you're feeling it now.
Ooh,
As
Vixen, that's a bad day. No flash for you, and SnapX right in the face with the Paddle Star will secure the solo kill.
Yeah, not sure what Vixen was doing there. Great trouble bubble from SnapX, able to pick up a nice lead now mid lane. He's got a 20 CS lead, and obviously that kill as well will definitely mean I'm seeing a dark seal as well. He already had that, so 2 stacks on that as well. And yeah, you see on the gold graph, nearly 1,000 gold just in mid lane alone, as we see Varren move to the top side for those grubs.
Will be able to contest. By the way, not grubs. They've already been given across to Paragon. All 6 were picked up by Maru. Shelly is now on the Rift, however, which does need to be contested. Varren is going to lose the shield there from the Celestial opposition. The chase down still potentially there, but the numbers are coming forward. Sack, not all that tanky, will be able to get out with the crash down, and Maru also not in that much danger. Kenji choosing not to leave his lane for that. SnapX looking for the angle towards Vixen, but again, Diari has the Spirit Rush, can just get away. The fight is looking to start in earnest. Kenji staying off to the side, looking for a potential angle to land a between worlds as the damage is still going down onto the Herald. There is Kenji coming in. There's a lot of damage going onto the Aurora though, and he's down before the fight can truly start. Cataclysm over the top, trying to get Timotopper down. They're not able to do it, however. Maru able to flash out and survive. Sack super low, is going to die, but Mr. Freeze will get traded out as the shutdown goes across to SnapX. Vixen able to run out, avoid the Sleepy Trouble bubble, and at the end of the day, nobody takes Shelly.
Yeah, Kenji going in looked like a great ultimate, but instantly gets one-shotted by Synapse and the rest of Belfast Storm. Taking that, looking very nice. I mean, Timotopper was kind of just running around. There was a 1 HP, Jarvan for quite a while, and they sort of just ran around. I think he was reloading or something. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I mean, overall, it's a pretty strange fight. I mean, the neutral objective, like you said, doesn't end up being taken. Unfortunately, Timotopper as well is not able to get that mid-tier 1. Maybe if he was playing an ADC that had more objective potential taking, you know, obviously Jhin isn't the best. It gets taken in the end. It must have been 1 HP on the Sliver. So that's very good. That is huge, actually, because like we said, once that mid-tier 1 tower goes down, it opens up the map so much for the Jhin, the Zoe, I mean, for all the champions really, but especially that long-range follow-up. So hopefully we'll see Paragon abuse that and make some picks in the mid lane.
That we shall see. SnapX certainly having a good time with it, already on a killing spree. 3-0. Vixen has had a couple of opportunities, had a couple of good charms to set up for some kills for Belfast Storm, but she hasn't really been the beneficiary of those plays. Definitely Mr. Freeze, the one to keep your eyes on. as these plays go forward, as the teams once again line up to potentially fight over Shelly.
Yeah, will it be taken this time though? That is the question. Obviously, third Drake is also spawning, and I think they're aware of that now. Everyone sort of has made the shift to Shelly, and now is making the shift onto that third Drake. Definitely looks the juicier option.
Kenji don't care though. Just gonna shove it in
Kenji
this
don't
bottom
care.
line. He knows that there's people coming though, so respectfully will be able to step away from that. I'm not sure if the minions will do enough damage to secure the turret this time around. As you said, everybody filtering their way towards the bottom side of the rift. There's a lot of Belfast Storm members looking for a potential engage. SnapX goes forwards. We're still waiting for the catch in. Timatopa might just be in some trouble. Synapse needs to find the ultimate. He's able to flash through it, however. Now Dunlosi caught in by the Magnet Storm. SnapX trying to land the Paddle Stars over the wall, and that's a whole bunch of damage. Down goes the Jarvan. Maru, not all that healthy, but can put some damage down. Kenji now looking to join the play. Has the flash if he can put the ultimate down. In fact, it's already been used. The chase down cannot come through. Vixen looking for a potential charm angle. One shot still on the Spirit Rush as the jump forwards from Sack will find Mr. Freeze. He's put on ice. Baron needs to run, but it may just be the abattoir for him as Vixen looking in some trouble. Also, they're still looking to find the angle down. Vixen burning, but will not ball. The Fox fires not extinguished, but Paragon still barreling down the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was definitely a strange one. You saw both junglers kind of try to tunnel for the opposing ADC. Maru looked to try and get Mr. Freeze, but wasn't able to find it. Initially, we saw SnapX go over the wall, exhaust Freeze as well. Still wasn't able to find it in the moment. But then Dunlosi tried to get onto Timmer, Topra, and it didn't work at all. And Drake's picked up by Maru, which is huge. They don't want to lose that third Drake. Synapse is TP'd, but I don't think it's really going to matter. But yeah, that fight, and you know, Paragon able to chase the way down, but their tempo was not. Yeah, was quite good as well.
Just about.
So they were able to pick up the objective.
Just about able to complete the recall there, Timatopa. Doing okay for himself. And
Keep
has
calling
had
him Timmy. I need to stop it.
Yeah.
I have an urge to call him Timmy, but it's Timmer.
It's not. It is definitely not a Timmy game from Timatopa. He is absolutely doing what he needs to do. He's not forcing the facts like, I must be the carry this time around. He notices that Maru is doing just fine, that SnapX is doing fantastically. 2 items already completed.
Yeah.
And this is what the kind of the role the Jhin takes at the moment. He does not need to be the big damage threat. He can just be an enabler.
Yeah, SnapX having a really great game, and we've seen him play jungle. He's smashing it mid lane, doing really well in this Zoe pick. So far, so good. Vixen could be caught here. Has got his tier 1 though.
I mean, Spirit Rush gonna get her out. She is doing just fine. Meanwhile, Dunlosi has found SnapX, trying to make the distance here as the True Shot Barrage comes through and does next to nothing. Unbreakable Will may prove to be very breakable. Timatopa will be able to go over the top and secure the kill. And it's just as Baron spawns, Paragon, they could opt to start up the Baron here. I don't know if they feel confident to do it. It seems like it. There's only
They're
3
not
members
very
are
fast
still
at this,
up.
though.
They will not be. SnapX is able to find the bubble onto Vixen, though. The Paddle Stars are just obscene. Freeze is going to be able to jump on out of the Between Worlds. Kenji making sure the damage goes down. But another bubble out of SnapX. Just magnetized to the faces of Belfast Storm. The Baron is going to be dropping down here. Synapse Sprinter looked like he might want to try and get a look in, try and steal it, try and do something. But Paragon have exploded the game open. They secure the Baron and they're up to a 5.5k lead.
SnapX, bubble machine. I mean, Paragon do a great job of selecting the members that are contesting the Baron and using their long-range abilities and their pick potential to just absolutely delete them. I mean, at the start of that fight, Dunlosi is one-shotted. Baron soon to follow, and yeah, they start the Baron. Paragon, not the fastest Baron in the world. Obviously, you've got a Jhin, you've got a Zoe. That's not very fast at all. It's only really Maru who's doing that consistent damage. And like I mentioned, they were able to pick off Mr. Freeze. They're able to pick off, I think it was it Synapse as well? earlier on in that
And then
thing.
they-
It was just incredible. But Varyn with the TP behind. No, he's not TP'd behind, but he's looking at a flank
Got a
behind.
good flank, potential flank angle, as this might really mess up how Paragon want to
There's
play.
the TP
TP's
behind.
coming through, however, Timotopper has been caught out on the bot lane. There's going to be nothing that can be done to save him. Kill will just be given across, and that's a whole lot of tempo, a whole lot of wind out of Paragon's sails. They could have exploded into a gold lead. They are going to be somewhat slowed down by that depth.
Yeah, Timmy, I keep doing it again. Calling him Timmy, man. Timotopper, listen, like I said, you learned the lesson of an ADC getting dove. You've now also learned the lesson of an ADC being alone on the side lane. You can't do that. You're not a mid laner, you're not a top laner, you're not got as many tools, you're not very tanky at all. So Kenji, I think Kenji will be fine here.
Is right.
But yeah, gets caught. Varyn loved the flank. I mean, this is what Belfast have kind of got to start doing, getting a little bit creative. They're 5k, over 5k down, almost 6k down. So making picks like this is really going to keep their mental in this game.
It doesn't look like they're shaken to any degree. I think they are doing all right in the... Obviously, this is not the best situation to be in.
No, it's
If
pretty
you are
dire.
Dolph-
You've got two
Hey.
Drakes. I think that's what they're really leaning on here. They've still got the soul win condition, which they're going to want to try and get control over. But it's hard.
40
you know, I mean,
seconds.
Vixen's 2 levels down, and you know the objective control that Zoe offers is just insane. But Vixen getting caught with the
Kenji.
Kenji could be down.
I mean, one more charge on the Spirit Rush and Vixen
Yeah.
will simply be dead. There's a flash available as well, but Mara is not going to complain at all when he goes unstoppable. 5-0-3 on this Wukong, and it's just big props to the Paragon mid-jungle duo. Snepex, 6-0-6, 12 stacks on a Magi's. And I mean, you want a champion that's safe enough to basically never lose its stacks? You're looking at it. It's Zoe.
Yeah, I mean, Vixen, understand that he can use the, is it Banshee's Veil spell shield to get out of the Aurora ult, and it doesn't pull you back or deal damage to you, which is really nice, but it just wasn't enough at all. He was so deep. He has no tier 1 tower. Not really sure why he is so deep. I think he should have maybe taken the recall a little bit further back, because it means now that Paragon are able to pick their second Infernal Drake up, and listen, this could be an Infernal Drake stack that we see, which is obviously incredibly dangerous on champions like Zoe. I mean, any champion in the game, but the last thing you want is a Zoe Jhin to have these long range, you know, AoE Infernal Drake explosions onto you. You're just going to get blown up.
Absolutely. Now, the concern I have, or not concern, but the statement I want to make perhaps.
Oh, go on.
Donlosi trying to get the recall off here. Timotopper will spot him out and immediately gets caught by the trouble bubble. The chase down is there. The curtains have been called as well. Donlosi able to dodge away from them pretty well. Gets tagged by the third though. The fourth will not quite find its mark. Maru, however, knows exactly where his prey lands. A sixth for the Monkey King, pushing on down the top lane right now. Kenji, of course, still just keeping Synapse on notice. Doesn't need to do much outside of just keep getting those waves pushed in, make it hard for the Gragas to join in on these plays, while the rest of his team does all the hard work.
Well, that's the big thing. I mean, Paragon have also got 6 grubs, and you saw Dunlosi there. He was able to, Mr. Freeze, that damage!
Oh boy. Yeah, Zoe's a heck of a champion. Trouble Bubble landing onto Vix in the body, however, is being blocked out. Varyn able to land a good knockup, but the step away. Flash had to be burned from Maru. Is going to be down, of course, for a good while. Of course, still has the Warrior Trickster up and available. Will be able to get out of some sticky situations, not all of them. But in the bright side, if you're Belfast Storm, I'm pretty sure that inhib turret did not quite fall. It's gone like a pixel. So if any time in the next couple of minutes Paragon decide to head their way, probably going down.
Yeah, like you said, it's going to go down very soon. Belfast Storm kind of losing this game slowly. They've not been able to find consistent picks. Obviously, they found that one pick onto Timotopper, but now it's sort of slowed down. Vixen out of position, Dunlosi out of position. Yes, they're able to creatively kind of get their way out of it. You saw Dunlosi actually buffered the trouble bubble with his EQ, then flashed out. Looks like he was okay, but they're so deep on these side lanes that they're obviously going to die and sack. Now, Vixen, is it Marin? Is it? It's just the same thing.
I mean, when your jungle isn't your jungle anymore, curtains are called. Snepex is ringing the dinner bell. Timatopa will be able to secure that first kill. The rest of Paragon pushing forward. Synapse going to have to use the ultimate defensively. Kenji, in the meantime, did get ignited, did take a whole bunch of damage, but does not drop. And this top lane turret is still going to be the focus. Mr. Freeze getting bursted down. Snepex, he's not even needing to use the trouble bubbles at this point. He's just going forwards and auto-attacking.
Yeah, I mean, this Mr. Freeze, this Ezreal has gone from 3-0 to 4-3. It's really, really not worked as much as they would have hoped for, considering how far ahead he did get. But yeah, initially it was Varyn who was kind of out of position. Well, I say out of position, he is in his own jungle, but when you've lost so much on the map, that kind of means you're out of position. Trying to secure some vision, and then Dunlosi kind of was like, listen, I'll try and protect you here, buddy, and he dies, pays the price. And now Paragon, they're going to do the same thing they did last time. If somebody tries to contest, they're gonna one-shot you. Snepex in this push. He is low, though.
Synapse finds him, and that will be a big shutdown. Baron is secured by the side of Paragon right now. Belfast Storm are in fast pursuit. They need to be able to find this engage. They need to get Baron off as many people as possible. The engage will be delayed. The recalls are starting to come through. True Shot Barrage over the top. The charm does not land. The ultimates are coming through. The damage is there, but it might not be enough. Timatopa able to take one down. Sack is able to sell his life dearly so that his big carries can get out. Timatopa survives. Maru survives.
Yeah, I mean, Belfast Storm recognizing they have to chase down the remains of Paragon after getting the pick onto Snepex, because really that's the only way they're going to stand a chance in this game. Kenji, I think... Oh no, there's a TP. Dunlosi's gone. He's gone.
I mean, there is a good response potential from... Never mind.
No.
Between Worlds, good luck dashing in the vicinity of this champion. That's another one for Snepex. 7, 1, and 8. Still has enough stacks to get that movement speed. Definitely doing postdoctorate research in this game is Snepex. Paragon, they continue the push. They are being so controlled, so tempered with a majority of their plays.
Yeah.
Feels like Belfast Storm are kind of scrambling for answers at this point.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, like you said, Paragon, they've been quite patient. You know, they've not given too much away. Obviously, Snepex giving that shutdown is not what you want. But what I want to talk about is that dive, because I think it could have gone a lot better than it actually looked. Vixen was the first person to go in. Ended up tanking like 2 tower shots. He was already 50% HP. So he had to go out of tower range just so he was dropping aggro, then go back in. But by then, it was like 300 HP. So, yeah, he really shouldn't have been the first person to go in there. I mean, especially when you've got an Alistar and a Gragas and a Jarvan that can take up that role. So, yeah, it could have been cleaner because he had to then go back in whilst, you know, his team was engaging. So they could have gotten more from that, but at least they recognized it. I don't think it's going to matter because now that, you know, I mean, listen, Zoe doesn't have Baron, but she's got a team that has Baron and Vixen.
Trouble. Yeah, they're so nasty at this point. Like, one lands, you need to use some sort of cleanse or body block or flash or whatever. You cannot get hit by this ability. Mid inhibitor is dropped down. Silent Sprinter doing what he can to try and keep the waves outside of the base. Now has a potential very good flank angle. Timatopa has been able to step to the side quite a bit. Maru looks to be the target. Dunlosi getting absolutely detonated. Maru going legendary now. Silent trying to split this team up. Snepex takes a decent chunk of damage. Maru able to step away with the Warrior Trickster as the health bars of Belfast Storm dropping lower and lower. Synapse feels completely disconnected from this team as the members of Paragon push towards the towers. Drop down. Snepex goes forward again. Will get shut down for a second time, but it may not matter all that much. Sack tanking up the turrets for as long as he can. Will drop down, and it's all on Vixen to try and save the game. Kenji will drop down, will get taken down, but it will be Paragon that secure the win and knock Belfast Storm into that sole possession of last place in Group B.
Yeah, a little bit more of a stomp this game. Not too much back and forth. Belfast obviously did try their hardest, and credit to them, but Dunlosi just got blown up completely. And a great win for Paragon as they go 2-2. Brackish, what did you think of that one?
I mean, it started out looking pretty even. And then
Yeah.
it was, oh, we'll give this kill to Snapback. Oh, we'll
Yeah.
give this kill to Snap.
Snap
Oh
back.
my god, where did Paragon get tactical nukes? Like, people were just vanishing off the rift, never to be seen again.
Yeah, I mean, Snapback is probably going to be thinking to himself, what the hell am I doing in the jungle? My Zoe is clean. I mean, we saw Belfast Storm, doing these dives bot lane that seemed to work quite well. They repeat doved Timmy Topra, and it worked. He did 3-0 Mr. Threes on his Ezreal, but it just doesn't amount to anything.
It started off looking really good in the bot lane, as you say, but my worry about keeping Snapback in the mid lane is, does he play anything other than Zoe? And was this just Belfast Storm not doing their research? Because if Zoe gets banned, what does this man do? And I feel like Paragon, I mean, they're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. This is just a day where Lasp couldn't be here. And so Timatopa steps into bot lane. Snapback has a fantastic performance in mid lane, but I certainly don't want to see him suddenly role swapping out of nowhere. He's certainly not a bad jungler by any measure.
No, he's not. That's a good point. That is a good point. No, but I mean, he's never going to be happy with it though, right? I mean, to go drop a perfect game, I mean, that's definitely his best KDA of the tournament so far.
That was
definitely
not a
the
perfect
most
game. It did very well.
Well, not quite. He was perfect for quite a long time, and then he let it slip around the Baron,
To
and then
be
at
fair,
the end
though,
as well.
To be entirely fair, the deaths were what Balbus would call good. Like,
Good
they were
deaths.
still very much in service to Paragon winning the game. So, I'm not going to flame him too much for it. And certainly had a fantastic showing, as Paragon will indeed go to 2-2 at the end of the first round robin. With that being said, time to throw it away for a break. It's the end of the day for you and I, at least. Got more casters coming in. I noticed that there's we've had the duos today are alphabetically aligned. We've got Brackish Brett, Venice the Menace coming in after this break. We are going to have Dalax and Doctor, I believe. So
the Ds.
From BB to DD, we will be continuing
BDD.
the games. No, we're not that good.
No,
we will be coming back 2 more games to bring you DMG Esports versus the Venoncrest Serpents as they try and get their first win, currently sat at 0-3. And then one heck of a game to end the day, Ruddy versus the currently undefeated Nuclear Vikings. We're going to be back. Well, we're not going to be back, but we are going to be back in a few moments' time with those other casters to bring you those 2 remaining games. Have a fantastic rest of your evening, your broadcast. It's out from us. See you in a bit.
I'm feeling it. My bones telling me it's right. It's so different. But when you take me to the light, it's like a cigarette. And I'm burning at your lips. That's so innocent. And you kick it up, and now I want to show you all what you deserve. And know we got so much to learn. And just like when we said I do, and it's only you that can do it like that. Yeah. I like it with you. I like it with you. I like it with you. In the sand and we'll dance. We ain't got no plans. I like it with you. Yeah. I like it with you. And the hours will melt all night long. I like it when you close all the curtains. Taking up the trash and the burdens. We got all the time, ain't no worries. I like it with you in it. And make me take a little look. Can we finish it? And then get busy getting back into the thick of it, yeah. Take a second, breathe it in. Now out again. I'm still understanding just how you do. The magic when you look at me. Know what I'm saying? It inside your seat. Oh, and just like when we said I do. And it's only you who could do like that. It's only you who could do like. I like it with you. I like it with you. I like it with you. In the sand and we'll dance. We ain't got no plans. I like it with you. Yeah. I like it with you. And the hours will melt all night long. I like it when you close all the curtains. You're taking up the trash and the burdens. We got all the time, ain't no worries. I like it when you tell me that you love it. And when you pull the strings, I'm a puppet. Even when it rains, we above it. Oh, I like it with you. I like it with you. Yeah. I like it with. I like it with you. Yeah.
Oh, so suddenly you're poison the air I breathe. But if you don't hate me, then why would you break me? Feel it in my bones. I'm about to lose control. Only so much I'm taking. So get yourself to safety. 'Cause baby, a storm is coming. You better heed the warning, pray. Don't stay. Run away, 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 away. Feel how the rain is pouring. I'm a jet like a hurricane. Don't stay. Run away, 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 away.
never thought I'd believe in miracles. You made me realize that you're the only one. Don't need to tell me what the future holds. Oh, I'll be fine, 'cause we'll be laying in the sun. So you can let your hair down. I'll hide all of your worries away, and we don't have to go now. I wish I could live this life on replay. Don't need to make plans, it's all in your hands. I'm too busy, I'm spending all my time with you. Driving through the states, don't know what awaits. It don't matter, I'm spending all my time with you. I'm spending all my time. I'm spending all my time with you. Oh, I'm spending all my time. I'm spending all my time with you. I've seen your smile light up the darkest rooms. I'll put your love on top, 'cause I know you will too. You get more beautiful like flowers bloom. I've never felt this yet, it feels like deja vu. So you can let your hair down. I'll hide all of your worries away, and we don't have to go now. I wish I could live this life on replay. So you can let your hair down. I'll hide all of your worries away, and we don't have to go now. I wish I could live this life on replay. Don't need to make plans, it's all in your hands. I'm too busy, I'm spending all my time with you. Driving through the states, don't know what awaits. It don't matter, I'm spending all my time with you. I'm spending all my time.
No.
Oh, wait.
Are we in?
I was
Any
a million miles
any
away.
prod countdowns maybe? Anyone for letting us know? What God's name is this?
Hey, the reason why I looked around was I saw a ping. I saw a ping in the
Yeah.
server and was like, oh, wait, oh, are we gone? I think we're
Yeah,
back.
oh,
Okay. I saw a ping in the server and was like, oh, I think are we live? And I had the Twitch stream open. So I was delayed by about 30 seconds. On the bright side, hi everyone, it's UKEL, it's Four Nations, we're back once again. It's a little bit of a different kind of setup to normal. We don't have a desk, we don't have hosts, but that means you get more time with us, the casters, the beautiful faces of a broadcast, you know, the best ones. I'm Dallas, I'm joined here by Doctor. Say hi, Doctor.
Yeah, we're here. We got a game. Good lord. Also
We
got a
do.
big echo.
To be fair, we do in fact have a game. We've got two games coming up, both best of ones. 4 different teams are going to be seeing. Our first one, I think, is some pretty big names. DMG Esports versus Venom Crest. I mean, I've seen a lot of these guys. Have you seen much about them? Like, I mean, they've been around for quite a while in the UKEL scene, right?
No, I haven't. I got nothing on iOS teams. I don't know where you're going in. To be fair, DMG. Oh wait, no. DMG's they've gone through many changes in that time. Many changes. Good lord, I'm so stunned.
Hey, it's okay.
Oh yeah.
It happens. We just roll with it. Sometimes that's production, baby. I'm looking forward to the sets tonight. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Obviously, normally I am caught on the host side of things, so I'm really looking forward to being on this side of the broadcast instead. I've done a fair share of play-by-playing with you guys over at UKEL, and I cannot wait to be thrown in the deep end with some of these incredible teams. So to recap the chat real quick, we aren't missing out on all of the preamble before matches. It's just going to be a bit shorter. We're not really going to have as much time to talk about the teams, but we are still going to get to see draft. We are still going to get to see everything else. Obviously, hopefully most of you guys were here for the 2 earlier sets with Brackish Brit and Bennis. You've missed Paragon, you've missed Belfast Storm, Goodchi and Vernon have already played, but we do still have some hot sets coming up.
Yeah, I thought I might be able to clutch up. Looking at the roster, I got nothing, dude. I've never seen any of these players in my life.
Oh wait, no,
okay. I know Mirai from back. They're a sub, so I don't think they're actually playing today. I have not heard that we've got any subs coming on in. So I don't know. Casters start game. We got a draft. I don't know.
Hey, we'll see when the draft rolls around. On the bright side, to be fair, my issue is that I haven't been in this scene for like a horrendously long time, right? Like only about since the last kind of summer, since the spring split is when I've kind of like been around the UK. So I'll recognize some names when they pop up, but I'm not going to really call them out before they pop up. But there's something to be said about this. There's a lot to be talked about by like a host desk and an analyst desk about players, matchups, history, stuff like that. All stuff that's really worth mentioning. Don't get me wrong. But going into a set like this, kind of completely blind for the both of us, it means everything that happens during the sets, they're going to be judged on their own merits. Everything we see from these players is going to be noticed with fresh eyes, right?
Yeah, I'll be judging. I love me some judgment, bro. I'll be judging. I got nothing. I mean, isn't that what we should always be judging people on? It's on the merit of the gameplay. Realistically, I'm not judging anyone on the gameplay. It's UKL, let's be honest. We're not going to get the finest. I'm going to be judging on heart and on spirit. Maybe on a bit of passion as well. At the end of the day, if we see someone make a couple of oopsie whoopsies in game, that one's to be expected. See if we can bring it back afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken a glance at the rosters now, which I definitely should have done before, but I have finally just kind of like, I didn't know where to look, and I found it now, so it's okay. I'm looking across, I do recognize a lot of names from before. I mean, I definitely have watched these teams play, which does make sense why I'm seeing some recurring names. I really feel like I have seen Shy on Venom Crest. I feel like I've seen that name and be brought up quite a lot the last time that they were in the mix. So, again, whenever I see a player and I recognize a name, that's always where my attention goes to. But I think a lot that can be said about what we feel like these teams are going to play like is going to come in when the draft starts. We're going to get to see the kind of stuff that they pick and understand, like, it's a big thing with League, right? As a game, you can see a team's draft, what characters they're fielded, and be like, I understand your game plan from a perspective of what it is we're looking at right here. And already we're halfway through. We've missed the first little wave of bans coming in. So Hecarim off the table, same with Rek'Sai. These kind of heavy engaging junglers are gone. A lot of focus being pushed on the jungle as well by Venom Crest by taking off Karthus as well to boot. Same with DMG. Junglers seem to be the name of the game, Doctor.
Those force engage shenanigans out of here. I'm trying to think if that Olaf ban is maybe. I'm trying to remember if I feel like Shy is like a split push menace. If I've seen this before. Like Shy Fiora, is that a thing? I'm not too sure. Because in either case, if it was, maybe it would have been Wimble's Land, but instead we gone ahead and got ourselves a Ziggs. Either one of these could be going on down the bot lane. As I understand it, that as always on the current patch, marksmen are not happy and they're doing the whole thing where they're like, wow, my items suck. And I'm like, okay, every other role goes through this every like 3 months. Get over it. And so we'll see if they're actually going to end up playing any marksmen in this game or if we're going to have some interesting comps this time around.
You always can, right? There's always these like weird flex bot lanes. I mean, there's staples that have existed for ages, like pairing Yasuo with a good character that can knock up. But either way, we're going to be slamming the Kai'Sa, still having a marksman. But being able to flex into those AP items does mean that you aren't at the behest of your itemization, of your build path. You have that like freedom to be a little more creative with it. So on the note that you were saying, I can imagine the Kai'Sa coming in as just a angle of, I've got coverage. I'm slamming this early. I don't need to necessarily know everything that DMG is putting on the table, but also I'm not at the behest of the item balance gods. I like this pick. I think it's quite cool.
Could go either way as well. Could also be Kai'Sa up in mid lane, technically, if you really wanted to. And that will probably depend up on the matchup, because, if you're trying to bully someone out, you get that Syndra down bot, can get it done. Syndra not in a terrible spot after the item changes. With basically anyone who's got base damage is happy, because with stats being taken away from items, anyone with good base damage or innate scaling, like in their kit itself, is going to be pretty happy. So again, like Syndra, where she's like, "Oh, I've lost like gold, but so is everyone, and I'm getting stacks. Right? I'm getting the passive going. They're all having a good time." Ornn, a champion who's built entirely on items, not having in theory the best time, but ultimately tanks are the guys who got hit the least, and so you can still lock that one in pretty confidently, just like you used to.
Yeah, I like the Ornn here as well. It's giving some good angles for the Ziggs to have some peel up. Ornn obviously being really, really good in comps where you really want someone in the front line who's happy to be sitting there taking the picks and kind of applying CC, giving a bit of breathing room to the backline of DMG. Curious of where the rest of their bans, their picks are going to be kind of targeted towards. Because we've got the ADC on the table, we don't have the support yet, we don't have the jungler. And with how heavy this focus has been on jungles in the way of the ban, to have one side have their jungler locked in, that Viego really competent in opening up a team fight, getting a good pick or two off of hand, and having a strong early game. My eyes are on DMG to see how are they responding. With the Sejuani ban as well from Venom Crest, it just feels like that's where the fear is can your jungle come online quicker than ours?
I'm actually going to note it real quick that having looked up, none of the Ornn items got changed.
Oh, really?
So Ornn not getting stealth nerfed. I was sort of expecting that one to fly under the radar, but he gets it done. He gets involved. So is that going to be too relevant? Not really. He's as strong as he used to be. But hey, well, actually, I guess it is because any Ornn item that got upgraded before, you're now getting a greater upgrade. Like if it lost 5 AD and Ornn used to give it 20 AD, it's now giving it 25, right? Because the number that it got changed to has not been changed itself. So I don't know, maybe one's better. Who cares? It doesn't matter. We're not going to get that far in this game. We're not getting to 6 items on any of this. We're going to fight early and we're going to get involved.
I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen Wukong in a hot minute in any kind of like competitive level non-solo duo queue.
Oh, no.
I'm
missing out.
Really?
Yeah, he's been all over the gaff.
Oh, well, I guess maybe I'm just not up to date enough. However, that's a character I see a lot. Nautilus, I feel like it's all over the place, especially at the moment. These engage supports, especially on having a duo like Kai'Sa, into someone like Ziggs, who just wants to spend the whole game staying away from her. I really like this angle.
No, the Wukong, he's sort of in the same boat as... He's in that sort of that Vi, Jarvan, Xin bucket. Where it's like, oh yeah, an AD junker, I jump in on people. It's a very much a sliding spectrum on how much you're getting out. You know, like a Vi, she's all in, she's going to CC one person for a long time, and you can trade that off for some more damage or for some more survivability. Like if you're Jarvan, you can, well, I'm going to CC multiple people effectively for a time. Xin Zhao is a bit tankier, but doing a bit less. Wukong's like, okay, my CC's real. Like, you know, it's not cataclysm, it's natural knock-up, but it's not going to last as long. So, yeah, everyone's in roughly the same boat here. And this is not something, we got a Leona involved as well, so we can combo very nicely on in with that. And DMG have locked themselves in a pretty simple comp. We're just sort of going to press the buttons on you, run at you, try and make some engages, and usually that is sort of all you need.
DMG kind of has that in spades. You said it yourself, they're going to just slam buttons, and then Ziggs is going to be standing at the back, and I think Ziggs is in a really healthy spot, especially over the I don't know about the current patch, but over the most recent few, we've just been seeing Ziggs' play rate kind of like climb higher and higher, and it's not for a bad reason. This character is strong. If you don't lose early in lane, and you make it to that mid to late game with like a couple kills under your belt, that's a crazy amount of damage output, as long as your team can peel and keep the opposing side off of you. Venom Crest need to kind of like have their priorities in order, because if they get stunned by Leona, knocked up by Wukong, and slammed with an Ornn charge, they're just going to be taken out of the fight completely and utterly, and Ziggs is going to have any opportunities to kind of just do whatever he wants here.
Without having looked into it too much specifically for Ziggs, I'm going to assume he's in a bit of a worse spot, because what Ziggs was mostly about before is, you go through and you get your turrets, right? That's the Ziggs thing. You get 15 plates in 15 minutes. And Ziggs was, I'll say, slightly balanced around the fact that you would just have like 2k, 3k more than everyone else. And you end up losing. So, like, if you didn't get those plates, you're in trouble. What I'm thinking now is, like, so Ziggs is sort of designed to be a bit more item dependent, because he gets in competitive an influx of gold that other mages don't. And now he's getting less value from that gold. So yes, you're sitting here, it's like, oh, I'm going to get all these plates, but you've now got like low base damage, high scaling to go with the items, but now the items aren't as good. So I actually know how, great of a spot he's in individually on this patch. But again, like, ultimately, if you can get 15 plates in 15 minutes, even without the money aspect of it for Ziggs, opening up the map is going to help out a lot. So if we see, because I've seen before here in Four Nations, people pick the Ziggs and then don't do any of the Ziggs stuff and just take him as like a scaling mage. And if that happens again, then I think we're in a little bit of a rough spot. So we want to make sure that we get the ball, or in this case, the bomb, rolling just a little bit early on.
I will say, looking at the two different compositions, I really like the angle DMG has for team fights. But for just like early game scuffles, I'm looking at everything that Venom Crest has on the table, and it's like laning Syndra against Yone. I can imagine that being a bit of a pain. And just having that Viego in the jungle, that kind of omnipresent threat, can make being in a solo lane a very stressful situation on someone like Yone, on someone like Ornn, characters that might kind of struggle to get out once you've not had enough vision, not had enough warning that a Viego's coming in. I think that's kind of going to be where this game thrives or dies. Venom Crest might have a very, very easy, not easy is not the word, but it depends on how they play that early game going into mid. DMG, though, have a lot more potential to, especially focusing around objectives in the late game. I love their chances of just having, if they can get to a Dragon or a Baron first and be on the defending angle, I think they've got a lot of kind of magic they can work here between, like, just the raw bulk and the sheer presence of a lot of the options they have on their team.
Yeah, and they like. Well, I mean, they have a lot of options, but the options are all the same, right? It's just bomber, just
Yeah.
press R, go
Hit
in.
them hard.
That usually works. It usually does work. I mean, I'm still looking at both comps. I will say one thing: I too well and truly despise Viego in a lot of comps because he doesn't really do anything by himself, right? He essentially reads, like global passive or his team fight passive. Enemy team has just 15% less max health. Because he himself can't really do anything. He can't set himself up and he can't set others up. He has to just come in and last hit with his ult, and then he can go crazy because he starts getting resets. And looking at this Venom Crest comp, I'm like, we have a little bit of pick potential, but it's mostly off of like a Nautilus Hook or maybe a Rogue Syndra E. And I'm thinking like, how are we getting ganks off with a Viego for a Gnar and a Syndra? We're not. So we're going to need to get really strong, like 2v2s, maybe 3v3s with the Viego invading with his laners. And I don't know, definitely top lane will be getting prio for sure, but mid lane, like you get Yone, his fleet, and once he's got boots too and a fair bit of attack speed, a couple of levels, I don't know if Syndra can take prio in that lane to be able to set up well enough for a Viego to like actually do something around about that like 8-minute mark or so.
Yeah, I can see it also a lot of the side of Venom Crest kind of like playing around having their ults up, especially that kind of mid lane experience of Syndra Yone. Yone's going to have a pretty like fine time getting in on Syndra early, I feel like, but being a character that likes to have an item under him before that momentum really gets going, I'm not sure that Yone's going to have the opportunity to play that kind of like delayed, drawn out game against Syndra, because the moment that she has ult up and she's just playing the keep away game with you, you're going to be suffering for it. And obviously Viego as well, very, very high value ult to have on that team. Kai'Sa, once you get into that late game, once there's that priority targeting and getting into the Ziggs at the back, Venom Crest is playing a composition that looks, to me at least, very heavy on the front of, we want to hit 6.
Yeah, in theory, Yone shouldn't be getting soloed by Syndra anytime soon. Now, having said that, he will. But, yes, Syndra can go like press all in, but the damage isn't very high early on. And Yone has all of the sort of reach and mobility of a ranged champion with the trading patterns of melee. So that's great. If you're versus Syndra, it's like, okay, cool. Dash in, knock up, shield, heal off a fleet, get a couple Qs off, snap back out with the E. You get your big burst up front, and then you just wait 15 seconds, and then you do it all again. So I wouldn't be too worried about him getting, he's not going to just spawn into lane and just get all in instantly. There is a world where, he gets, if he's making a couple of oopsie-whoopsies, a couple of bad trades, and he can get poked down. But in theory, I would give the Yone player in this situation the benefit of doubt. It's like, look, you've played against mages as Yone before. You know how to trade and how to not put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, you kind of said earlier, you alluded to the whole thing of like, oh, we're not expecting to see absolute wonders in these kind of sets coming up. But I almost like disagree that these players have like, it goes to, no, you don't full disagree. It goes to a point where like, these players have played.
You don't disagree.
Right. Look, I am being an optimist. That is what it is. These players have played these matchups before. Like, in really like low elo, people might not have seen that much Syndra. This Yone has seen a decent amount of Syndra. There's not a chance you're going to be taking a flawless matchup. You know how you're playing against those orbs at all times. So yeah, I do agree with you to a point of that this is going to be a game of like the Yone surely isn't going to misstep. But I feel like when people look at draft a lot of the time, they see it almost always in the vacuum of people playing their perfect games. Syndra's one of those champions where the moment that you misstep like once, it's like, okay, I've begun to snowball. Thanks. Shake your hand. I'm going to take that advantage now. Thanks. So yeah, we can always talk about people's perfect games, but there's always that room to kind of like almost theorize on what happens if there is that slight facilitation of human error. And we've talked a lot about mid, we've talked a lot about bot lane. Top lane, we haven't even touched on the Gnar here. Being picked after Ornn being a clear choice
What
that
do you
I like this
mean?
matchup.
What are we gonna touch on?
I don't
Gnar versus
know!
Ornn.
I'm trying to touch on everything!
What are you saying? Oh, hey, he's gonna throw a boomerang. All right.
It's gonna hit him, it's gonna do damage, and it's gonna return. Look, man, that's better than saying nothing at all.
But there's nothing to be said. We've seen this matchup. You see it 50 times a week for the last 6 years. It's there's nothing going on. Maybe Gnar gets a slight CS lead. Maybe he doesn't. He gets a couple of plates, and then you just realize that the Ornn's kind of more useful. Maybe
Yeah.
we get if we don't get the early skirmishes off with Gnar and the Viego, the Ornn is kind of just more useful. I don't really get it. Maybe Gnar will be useful on a split, or he'll get like a nice team fight where he's the big guy at the front for sure. But like, there's nothing. Oh yeah, what about Nautilus Leona? I wonder how that lane's gonna go. Oh, someone's gonna stun someone. All right.
They're gonna hook each other. They're gonna pull towards each other. They're gonna go into each other's loving embrace and then stun each other. Like hey, we've touched on it now. The audience knows what to expect. That's the big thing.
That's crazy, dude.
But
Caster start the game already. Like, what's going on?
we're probably waiting for the match delay.
Hey,
Here we
Caster
go.
started game. I'm a genius.
Yeah,
I
you
don't know
know
if it's that easy.
exactly. You can read the timings perfectly, my man.
I might just be the goat.
But yeah, going into this early game, what kind of thing, Doctor, would you like expect? We think we're going to see invades, a very early kind of like first-minute scuffles, or is this going to be a bit of a patient start?
30 seconds until
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be anyone. I'm seeing one team fanned out in 5. I'm seeing the other one with 5 people in one spot. So it's you want from me, man. We can do anything. The world's our oyster. Infinite possibilities and opportunities.
Yeah, that it is. It does seem to be that kind of like slow, patient start. Going to be going for a just kind of normal jungle clear, both just safely first clearing both sides, kind of just setting up, getting vision up, knowing that I don't really want to give an early advantage to either side.
No one busting anything too crazy out quite just yet. And we have a nice little simple. Where's everyone starting? We got Younglers starting up on their top side. But on the way down on bot does make sense when you've got yourselves when you've got a Ziggs in the mix. Let's see what the plan is, because we're not really going to go for a dive. He's not going to go for an early reset or anything like that. So I'm not sure. Presumably Rigged is just trying to go for a potential counter gank on Hazard here, but we'll see what happens when it happens.
I mean, you said it yourself, world's their oyster. Anything can really transpire, and we'll just see how that kind of game plan develops as we go on. Nefarious really happy to kind of sit back for a bit, giving Shy a bit of room to breathe.
That's not what they're going to do. What's going to happen up there? Don't bother putting the camera over there, we don't need to know. Maybe we'll need to know when minions come. Oh, poor George, it's a horror. Oh, no, he gets one. That's fine. It's less of a horror than previously anticipated. One thing to note is he has gone for the, what you call it, for that first strike, which I don't think is too common, you know, for the Syndra's here. But it will get you just a little bit extra money. Now, money is worth less than it used to be. But, you know, even with the impact of inflation, if you don't think that you're ever going to be able to actually poke the Yone out, or if you think that you're not going to be able to look for an all-in with a, electrocute, if you're not too fussed about your trades, and you're trying to just take this lane nice and even, because after basically Yone gets boots and like level 5, that's what it's going to be, then you might as well just go ahead and grab yourself the thing that's just going to give you a little bit of extra cash, in case that gets you to your spike, just a teensy tiny bit faster and right on time for an objective. As Shy crashes on in his cheater recall up there, misses out a couple. 4 CS missing off the top there, but enough to get a cull, and that's all he really wanted.
Both sides being very kind of like patient, play that long game. Partly that first strike thing you mentioned to me, it's just screaming the fact that Paul George is going to be playing a very just patient game, and is very much expecting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Huh?
I thought he was going to go for the all-in. I thought he was going to be farming kills in that lane.
Okay.
I thought we weren't going to see the two of them handshake it. God, I'm the goat. How do I do it? Anyway, jungler's turned up bot lane at some point, but not really a lot going on down there. It's not a lot of damage yet, so.
heavily engaged here, especially coming around with the Viego, trying to cover for that little bit of lost space. But yeah, just not really much purchase. The Wukong though coming in to cover Rigged, trying to get a little bit of damage on Hazard, is going to be getting away with it perfectly fine. Paul George looking to walk around, but instead, just knowing the fact that the waves are important, Hazard can get out perfectly safe on his own.
Huge exchange. As it does turn out to be a little crab picked up for Rigged, at least on top side, but Hazard already got the one down bot. Maybe there's a world where Rigged would look for a dive on that, but Shy pretty close to getting the Narbar field, so he's going to go ahead and catch this whole wave. Hazard pathing up top, not really sure why, because Nefarious has just crashed a massive wave. You assume Nefarious would have recalled a bit earlier than that, to be honest, but Nefarious doesn't have a lot of reason to stick around, unless he wants to build up an item, but there's not really a wave state for it, and so he's going to finish his recall, and Hazard's going to go back on into his jungle to go ahead and grab himself a couple of creeps, or just the one, the Gromp in this case, as why in God's name is Nefarious TPing back to lane? Your Ornn versus Gnar, you can lose about 2 creeps, but to be fair, he didn't need that TP for much anyway. That's why he's TPing on, and he wants to hold the wave, although I stand by the fact that he could have just recalled like 15 seconds earlier. As he's trying to hold the wave, but like, it's a Gnar, so Shy's probably just going to be able to crash that one anyway, and I don't really know what holding this wave is going to achieve, given that both junglers are making their way down to bot side as well. Unless, I guess, Rigged is going to turn around, head top, and trade Drake for the Grubs.
Yeah, definitely there's always the angle for it, I feel. I feel like when...
Never mind.
Huh? No, yeah, not yet.
Never mind.
But on that kind of note, I feel like when Grubs got introduced, it was very much like a big factor of, Grubs really dictated the entire flow of games. Then that kind of, that precedence went back towards Dragon. I don't really see much in the way of one is better than the other anymore. I don't know if that is the truth or not, but I feel like it's almost always a choice. It's almost always a trade of what one do I think benefits me more in this moment, or is it worth challenging for it?
Yeah, it's kind of about this, not the first one, but the second one, right? Like,
yes,
you can make a choice about getting the... It's like if you think you can get the same one twice, that's pretty good. But then also, what's going to happen to the 3rd and 4th Drake as well? Like, you can, if you think that your Wincon is rushing an early soul, you want to get the first 2 Drakes. But if you think you're stronger, you think you have the choice over what happens in the game, and you will have that choice in about 11 minutes, then you can take the Grubs twice and then contest the 3rd and 4th Drake to stop the opposing team from stacking up a soul and be like, okay, cool, now we're even in Drakes, but we've also got Grubs. And it seems that right now we're not going to be going for any... no, we are going for trade. Hazard is hiding underneath written on that there minimap. As we are just going to hand those on over. And I mean, the one thing I want to note is that everyone says that Grubs are the split pushers objective, just like those, and it's just kind of not true. Because if you're splitting, you already have good damage on the turret, right? Like, the Ziggs is not fussed that he's not got the Grubs, because he was going to do damage to the turret when he gets to it anyway. The people who actually like getting the Grubs are going to be the tanks and the mages, who are playing in a side lane, they're setting up for a late game 1-3-1, and they will actually now get damage when they reach the tower. So, like, Shy, not really too fussed about them, but, if Paul George is in a side lane, if he's doing 1-3-1, he will actually be able to threaten a little bit of damage onto a turret, and, potentially get himself a couple of plates because of that objective.
Yeah, I definitely like that. Especially with the way that the game's kind of playing out. I think there's going to be a lot of this kind of push towards the later kind of portions of the game when taking towers is going to be the biggest precedent. So I can imagine that could be why Venom Crest is kind of turning to that more, knowing for a fact that DMG has this very team fight heavy comp that can really push the late game a bit harder. Having map control, which obviously Void Grubs can set up for, would actually be a really nice spot to put yourself in for those later scuffles.
Yeah, it's not so much that it gets you control as... I mean, it does, I guess, technically. But it's just more about the fact that, you will now be threatening something you weren't threatening before. And not even, threatening it in a major way. But, okay, imagine, a Shen in side lane, right?
Yeah.
Shen's always in a side lane. He's never getting a turret a day in his life. You give Shen 3, or even better, you give him 6 Grubs. It's now just hey, I'll get it eventually. I'm not going to get it this wave. I'm not going to get it next wave. I'm not going to get it in 10 waves. But, it's on the table, and it is something to now consider. Oh, we left Shen alone in the lane. We have to leave him for it's 3 waves instead of the 6 that we were going to leave him before. Things like that. But again, especially matters more once you have all 6 Grubs, and because it's a flat amount, the damage, it's better for people who don't have turret damage. And then as the game goes later on, just by virtue of having not only base AD but also getting AP if you're a mage as well, the value does start to matter less. And then also, it's really late into the game. It's like, well, if you're hitting a turret, someone's probably dead, and the turret was probably going to die anyway, and you're probably already ending the game. So it's a weird spot to be where that. Let's figure out where exactly it starts to matter the most. But it's just something to keep an eye on, as it looked like Rigged was maybe thinking about a dive down bot, and Hazard was thinking about countering it, but he has just sort of turned away. And once again, both junglers have made their ways back out onto the map. There's actually, can we just check the bot lane real quick? How many plates have been picked up by Rinnoch on that Ziggs there? None. But now that he's actually got himself the, what you call it, the Lost Chapter, that could start to change.
Definitely, yeah. It's just been this like really slow paced game. I mean, you called it from the start of like, hey, there's not going to be too much to touch on in terms of laning matchups. And I mean, hell, who was I to question?
I'm the GOAT, it's true.
Really engaged. Make me eat my words. That's the caster's curse right there, baby. Leona going all the way in, finding the stun on the Nautilus, and just setting up perfectly for the punish on Ziggs. God damn.
Where are we going? We got a kill. Why are we recalling? I know the
to
Reaper
buy,
this
man.
one's
There's
not
items
that
to buy.
low, but like, yeah, there's a plate to bop. I mean, it's pretty high. I think it's only like 3 creeps to be fair. I don't know if it's just if Gibble has demolished. I guess if he had demolished, they would have played for it. But I don't know. This is Ziggs. I feel like we need going for a turret sometimes. So the respawn timer was low from Reeton, but still, right? We give it a try. I don't know. Not today, because we just take our 1 kill and we're happy. Oh my god, we have fun. What a horror. If you're playing with Ziggs, as a, sure. If you're a tank support and you've got a Ziggs on your team, go demolish. Play for your lane's Wincon right there as Gibble trying to find himself a little E, but will not quite connect.
Chase Reeton out of lane. Paul George as well, recognizing the threat and has to just kind of back off. Doesn't mean that we're going to be seeing too heavy of an engage here. Oh, never mind, the Zione's going in heavily. That's a full dive as well. Fully in on the Nautilus, gets a fair bit of damage. Paul George managed to finally reversing this with the Viego showing up as well. Beautiful kill. Changes to Leona, dive in. It's just CC hell if you're DMG here. And Venom Crest is running away with kill after kill in this trade. You would never believe it. If you're DMG, you were fully setting up, you were waiting, you were patient. You wanted that fight more than anything else. And it got flipped completely on its head because Venom Crest had a couple of extra cards in the back.
It's just a bit keen. We've employed the highly controversial one at a time strat, and it's lived up to its name. It hasn't really quite worked out for us. Also, no, Rinnoch, whilst this is going on, tries to walk up to the fight, and that's all well and good, but like, you're the Ziggs in this situation. Like, you've got TP for a reason. I mean, if everyone's going to path that and your job is to go bot, you don't roam up to the fight. Maybe you walk up there and you win it and you TP back, but ultimately what's happened here is that he has not secured a plate at all. Like, he had a big wave coming on through, and it's just hand on over to try out Matthew. It's like, well, what are we going to get out of this? As Gibble does not connect the ult, and Matthew will use their own ult to dodge out on that one, stick alive. As also to note there, shown by the observers, Hazard did not pick up the final grub. Only managed to get 2, so the last one is still standing. Could be sniped away, but we got 2 minutes left before that one despawns as PG can make their way onto Drake.
Realistically, Venom Crest have just seen this ult, they know it's happening, but they're not really in a spot to challenge it, especially with no jungler in sight. So yeah, just giving it over, getting a little bit of damage with that Kai'Sa W, but just kind of realizing that they're taking that trade again. That it's Dragons falling in preference of Grubs. 5 Grubs to Venom Crest, 2 Dragons to DMG. Setting up DMG in a nicer spot for Soul later on, especially Venom Crest coming back for this 6th and final Grub. It literally is what we were saying earlier. It is the change in mentality of what does my team want right now.
I gotta figure that one out. It's a hard question in life, isn't it? You know, what do I really want? Right now we're on the grub. We've got about left on that one. Hazard's on the wrong side of the map. Oh, big damage coming up from Paul George. Hang about. That's the first strike difference. Get that last little bit of true damage coming on through, and it looks like Church of Jovi gets a little bit too low. Does not utilize the move speed, the fleet, and the vamp set to its full. Hazard, what are you waiting for? You've got a minute on that grub. Mid lane is already dead. This is not an invade angle. Just go finish the camp that you started. Good lord. Problem here as well is not only is like losing objective damage, but don't forget that the grub gives extra XP whenever you kill the first one of the group.
Oh, I believe that's not a thing anymore, actually.
I
believe that was removed, wasn't it?
Everyone thinks it's not a thing. It is.
Oh,
it's,
okay.
But it's the first one that any jungler kills.
Oh, hold on, Scott,
very
Paul George taking a big chunk of damage. Support coming in to try and keep it alive, but it doesn't matter, they fall anyway. And it's just Venom Crest being picked apart by DMG. the entire Avengers assembled out of seemingly nowhere.
So what happens is that it's not tied to the camp, it's tied to the jungler.
Right.
And so basically Rig got to kill one, so he just got a very efficient stop through to get the XP there, right? Like he just walks in, he kills one, he gets a massive XP influx. Hazard wouldn't have got a lot for killing that one because he'd already killed one in that group, but he would have been able to deny that. Meanwhile, Matthew is probably not living. Oh, he is. We've just turned around. All right, we sent 4 people bottom. We've turned around. Boys, as it also looks like, unfortunately, Rinnik did not manage to get much in the way of plates there. Reeton's, I don't think, in that much danger. And actually, a ward has been placed on down. We're all spotted out. So Rinnik has gone for like an early build with the Ludens. You know, once that's burst up front and a little bit of extra push, a little bit of extra pressure, but has not been able to turn that into any plates. And so we'll just keep an eye on that. Valace is a very scaling dependent champion who's already had bad base, was balanced around the fact that he was going to get this influx of gold, has now not got that influx of gold, and at the same time, the gold that they do have is worth less because Posy Lives and Joys of Inflation have come to Summoner's Rift on patch 14.19 as well. Meanwhile, we look on over, it's like Tryhard Matthew not in as big of a problem because they're just not as insanely outdependent as the Ziggs, and they're going to get their extra bonuses no matter what from themselves. No, I don't know if this may have changed any of their breakpoints, but still, my point stands about the Ziggs being a little weaker than you would like him to be.
Totally, yeah. Time will tell if that changes at all. Top lane being completely abandoned in favor of, it seems like, Nefarious instead setting up to try and cover out a little bit in mid lane, hoping that Blue George pushes out. Maybe just, I don't know, something else in the meantime, charging up on a bit of Melons, giving a bit of lane control back over to Shy, coming in for a ganking approach angle. On the flip side, though, this is a roaming Ziggs, going just wherever it is to grab that XP. You noted the fact that they're falling behind a little bit, so they're kind of doing what they can to get back into the game and be doing the damage that we really want them to be with 3 kills up at this point.
Alright, Days. Where the God's name did you get 3 kills from?
It definitely happened. When you were saying they're falling behind, not doing much, I was like, well, that's it. That's 6,000 gold. That is 3 kills on the board.
I missed that entirely. I might be cooked. That was like, but they're both one. They have the same items, the same gold. I look, I see the turret's like full health. No, he's expertly last hit an Nautilus a couple of times, but unfortunately, it's not last hit that turret. And what's going on? Herald has been deployed on mid. Won't really get too much. He gets that turret. And the thing is with the Herald, I mean, actually at the end of the day, this is just free money. It is one thing to consider with Herald though. Is like, was the turret going to go down anyway? In a situation like this, where you don't lose anything to pick up the Herald, and then you drop it and you get the turret, it's like, okay, fine, it's extra money for Venom Crest. But, you know, DMG are there like, well, we can just get the turret back later on. So the important thing for Venom Crest is to use this influx of cash now, and probably around about this Drake, see if they can just get any extra item spike on one of their carries, so that they can try and pick up this Drake and stop that sort of move onto Soul Point from DMG. As Judge Jovi a little bit caught. Manages to ult himself out though.
Yeah, definitely choosing the safe play over the bold one, but instead it's going to be a complete turn of fate for Venom Crest, and DMG are starting to become believers. Chovy is going to have to walk up. It's a little bit too late to save a couple of their allies, but instead it's still going into favor of DMG as they are picking Venom Crest apart. With Venom Crest losing their jungler, their ADC, their support, they've only got this Syndra, they've only got this Nut. It's a lot of damage sitting in there, a lot of potential. With the Syndra still having to sit in mid lane, you can't reverse this. There wasn't even a chance that the Syndra was here. So just kind of falling back, taking your time, getting that extra CS so you can get down. DMG's completely out of the picture, getting that Drake. The scary thing for me is this is Soul Point now. DMG has prioritized their objectives like we said. They can get to objectives earlier than Venom Crest set up. They have that bulk, they have the CC, they have the sustain that they can fight for objectives that little bit easier at this point in the game. And getting to 3 dragons already off the back of that forces Venom Crest to have to acknowledge the next dragon that comes up.
Yeah, they're gonna need to actually, gonna need to lock in for that one. About 4.5 minutes. You don't really want to be handing on a Cloud Soul here. I mean, especially if that's a Wukong happening, is absolutely terrifying. As Gibble's a little bit early on the play, a little bit late on the ult, and ends up sort of maybe just going down. Oh, not going down, baiting Hazard.
Yeah, not until it is gonna live on, but isn't
Oh,
for
the
very
snipe!
much longer. Gibble goes Chomp staying alive. The TP. Questionable one of that, but Chovy still joining in the fun nonetheless. Rig chasing all the way down. Reeton has got to live this, and with, Rig noticing that you don't want to be running into a bush for for quite any reason, just to pick up a kill on the support, try out Matthew ready to cover, but this is still going to be a tower that pulls. This is still a lot of gold swinging in the way of DMG. This is looking like an incredibly confident game. Never mind, make that another TP on the side of DMG back to bot lane, which forces Shy to have to, once again, just back off. This tower pressure for Venom Crest isn't really there, but oh my god, the Syndra burst damage, it's just ridiculous. You cannot realistically face a 4-on-1, now 5-on-1 Syndra. You've been losing to it in lane, it's 40 CS up, it can look at you wrong and blow you up. Unfortunately, they're just not fights you can take anymore.
Yeah, no, not at this stage. And also we got a couple of stacks in there. Got the true damage on the W, and not even a Hex Drinker in sight for Church of Chovy, so he's going to be a little bit scared in that lane. Had his opportunity earlier on, not able to capitalize on it, and now unfortunately sort of has to live with the consequences of that one. Now, we do have ourselves a Baron spawning up in about 15 seconds, and Venom Crest do have a little bit more control of the map right now, which they're turning into vision in that northern quadrant, but we have to be a bit careful here. I think, Gibble Ghost Jump is not going to go down if the hook comes on through. But no, actually, Aftershock is not able to be popped. No, never mind. They do go on down. We've got enough CC going on through that the Leona cannot press the buttons to make themselves tanky, and they do get bursted out. But it is a committal of a Riptide at least, so Depth Charge even. So I don't know, is that going to turn into a Baron? Apparently not, as everyone makes their way up towards the top lane and Krugs instead.
I feel like you're aware of the fact that Riggs just respawned. Yes, you've got rid of Gibble, but I don't think they have any vision, at least they didn't back then, of where Nefarious was. They're not quite sure the situation that Church of Chovy's in, so they kind of have to make that choice. If we can set up the Baron, we could start it, but then we're kind of starting it without the full information on the table. So instead it's going to be DMG who are going to be moving up to try and honestly look for this fight to happen. Now, I'm not sure whether they would win an honest fight, but it is a close game. 6 kills playing 7 kills. The goal difference actually in the favor of Venom Crest. For a game that's been consistently feeling like DMG's on top, Venom Crest's like passive nature of just like sitting back farming, making sure they're not taking fights they can't afford to take, has meant that even though they're losing in team fights, even though they're 7 and 6, they're actually up in terms of gold. Now, I think this is massively going to come down to this Dragon Soul as it appears any moment soon. In 1 minute and 30 seconds, it's exactly why we're seeing both teams converge on this fight. Oh.
I actually think there's a world. Oh, okay. No, wait, no, this could be good.
Reason definitely falls here. Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh, George finally, finally biting the bullet to Rig, who's going to be picking up a hefty shutdown for that. And it's just, Venom Crest falling apart. It's that team fighting nature of DMG that I try to pick up on during that drafting phase, that you just can't challenge them. They've all got so much bulk, they've all got so much CC, so much sustain, that if they can get in on anyone who's your designated character, let's be real here, all eyes are on Paul George. The moment that character falls, that Syndra crumbles, so much of the damage core that makes up a Venom Crest falls off. So realistically, DMG can kind of spin this any way they want. Dragon isn't even up yet though, so even though it was a one fight, they can't flip it around into the claiming of a soul, so they're just doing what they can, pick up lanes.
Well, so this is what I mean, like, okay, Venom Crest have lost a bit too hard, a bit too early, because I think that they actually, low-key, maybe not after that fight. I was going to say, low-key, given like the sort of strength of Rig, particularly, or relative, lack of strength at the time, it's like, you kind of are okay to just give this Drake over. Oh wait, no, it's Hex Soul. It's not Cloud Soul at all, is it?
Yeah,
oh,
it's Hex Soul.
No,
Hex Gates up. Hex was the last one.
Ah, we do care about Hex Soul. I was going to say we don't care about Cloud Soul, and we could actually just play for Elder, like give them Drake, and we'll just get Elder instead. But no, Hex Soul's probably worth it, and stacking Hex Drakes is always nice for Venom Crest as well. You don't really want to get hit by a bomb from Ziggs from off screen and then have it slow your whole team. But important to note is, like, even after that, like, it's a 3-foot-1, but then Shy is allowed to just walk the bot and get a turret. As now, it looks like we're just going to get an Ord as well.
That's it, Nefarious falls, Rig goes all the way in, and honestly, that life bar is barely even dropping. Venom Crest doing what they can, but they can't really make a dent. George, on the other hand, is still playing the role of that damage carry, and it's just DMG are not turning to acknowledge it, leaving them to take it one by one. You said it yourself, Doctor. Rhynek left alone against the world, having to walk away. Hazard going to be picking up this kill. Never mind, give it over to Regan, but it doesn't matter. We're going to get this dragon, we're going to take it off the table. Soul is not going to be a problem for quite a fat chunk of time, and we're going to have a little bit of leeway to start gaining an advantage back in the way of lane presence.
Hefty damage coming on from Paul George in these fights. Now, you got 3 items, and crucially, no one's really got any magic resist, and this whole this whole Syndra thing, this is a one-shot build, right? This is, I'm going to drop ult on you with a couple of balls. Hopefully, that's going to do enough damage to proc the Storm Surge. It's going to, get you low enough so that the Shadow Flame gets involved. And then once level 16 rolls around, we're going to get the Execute, provided we have enough stacks as well. And this will work for as long as Venom Crest ahead, for sure. I do feel like there is a world where the second someone just gets like a Hex Drinker or just like a random... Even you just get like a Negatron Cloak onto Rinnegan, and it's like, cool. This was the best 900 gold I ever spent in my life. If we could not die for the inverse of Paul George, then it's going to be okay. Then we might have a chance. Unfortunately, though, Breton, real far up on his own, kind of just goes down. But we need people if we want to go and get vision control of that Baron. And I have to find out, is it actually being started up? It is not. Because the damage, not actually that high for DMG. They want to get another pick or two before they really commit onto that objective.
Yeah, especially Breton going down it's harmful, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. DMG starting Baron is going to be forcing this fight.
This is an insane TP.
It really, really is. Trying to join in the fight no matter what. Shy is trying to tack on some damage on Rig. No one on Venom Crest wants to really turn and fight this because they know that they probably drop it if it isn't in there.
What?
There it is. That's exactly what I'm saying. If it isn't on their terms. Hazard picking up that kill right there on the Yone. Chovy going down, and all of a sudden DMG kind of is forced to escape here. You've lost a decent chunk of your damage, and it's just going to keep getting worse. Gible falls once more, and now you've lost a fat chunk of your CC. You've lost your damage, then you've lost your sustain. Now what's left? You have an Ornn, you have a Wukong, you have a Ziggs. There's a lot that trio can do, but against a full 5-stack Venom Crest, you honestly kind of just have to give this Baron up. You know you've been winning the long game in terms of the other objectives on the Dragon front, but all of a sudden Venom Crest is pulled into this later side of the game, and now this passive farm is playing off.
Boys, what was the plan here? I mean, I look at the DMG, there's no damage to do the Baron, right? So we get one pick and we start up, and I think the plan is that Venom Crest overcommit trying to defend it, and then they turn around and they try and fight in stun. But like, then what happens when the Ferris TP's in really early? Nobody's actually committed to the fight, and then DMG go, oh well, we've burned a TP for this. We need to get someone. So they start trying to chase, but again, no one's committed to trying to stop them do the Baron. So everyone's really far away, so Venom Crest can just sort of walk away, not again, brother. Everyone just sort of walks away from that fight up top, and then we overchase too far, and then we all die. And it's like, well, what was the plan? As Breton does the exact same thing again mere minutes later, although this time, Hazard might be able to pick up a kill or two. I mean, we're just walking. Why? There's not even an objective here. That Drake's not up for 2 minutes. Why are 3 people dying in River? For what? Let's try Matthew. Oh, hang about. Maybe one more, but no.
This tower pressure, you just kind of have to acknowledge it, yeah, with your
Ziggs he snipes him out.
He
gets the snipe.
Yeah, you're just in a spot now of like, yeah, okay, you've got Baron. We have been up for the majority of this game, but you've just got more items than us. You've got more overall gold than us. You've now got a Baron buff. 3 of our 5 players are down. So unfortunately, there's not much we can really do. Nefarious doing what they can to snuff out this Baron. We're going to be seeing one drop off as Hazard falls. Goes all in on Paul George again. It's a big deal, but that Zhonya's popping off is going to be keeping them alive for a little bit longer. And you have to disengage because they still have damage. That's a double kill going towards Paul George as the support falls. The owner goes down, and you're still chasing, but it doesn't matter. Those fools keep slamming you no matter what. Wukong falls. Rigged is down. That is 4 kills going in the way of Venom Crest and an open Nexus to seal it all off. You never could have predicted it. With the way this game starts, with the way the objectives were flowing, DMG looked on top of the world, but unfortunately, Venom Crest did have the mountaineering equipment to scale that hill. 20 kills to 13, fully flipped around, and Venom Crest's first win of the season. That's an incredible conclusion to, honestly, quite a fun game.
Yeah, managed to pick one up, managed to pick a very confident win off the back of that one, and really, yeah, we just kind of managed to last hit ourselves a couple of Syndra kills at some point in the game, and then we said, oh, this guy's kind of strong. And then we walk around, we get ourselves some kills, we get ourselves some objectives, and then we get ourselves some more kills and kind of just end the game. Oh, we're back. It's okay, yeah, sure. We just kind of walk down mid and end. Sure, all right.
It's the big thing that I've noticed is the difference between like average common or garden League of Legends and people that know what they're doing is that if Baron falls, that is like the biggest deal out there. You need to shut it down now, otherwise the game's just kind of over. It's just over. And it's the same old story, I think, time and time again. Venom Crest, really, really good and on the ball with knowing how to use it.
I think we're on different sides.
Oh, really?
Of which side of the line this game falls on.
Okay, go on. You say your piece, and I'll say mine after.
I'll say, yeah, if you just get Baron, this can be used to. And I think, given that the objective's been around for a while, most, sort of like, top tier, most good teams will know, like, okay, this is what we can afford to give up. This is what they're going to get. Like, you will accept the fact got Baron, so now we're going to hand, like, our mid inhib or whatever. And it's not, so, like, yeah, you should, it's kind of like an inverted U, right? Like the Bell reference, like, okay.
Yes.
The inverted U is a very different graph.
Okay, gotcha.
I'll have you know. And it's not the one I meant. Because the difference between N inverted U is the inverted U graph has the little tick on it that you sort of have at the start of a sort of thing. Very important when it comes
People
to the
are actively
Dunning-Kruger effect.
running away from chat right now and not understanding.
Hey, if you draw the Dunning-Kruger effect and you don't put the little tick on the beginning, it's completely out.
Travesty, honestly.
But in terms of the bell curve of it all, this normal distribution, you sort of have it like, on the absolute lowest of ends, it's like, oh, they hit Baron, just end the game and win, GG. And then in the middle, you've got they've taken Baron, so we're going to like try and trade this on the other side, and we're going to give them that and this and that, and there's a little exchange going on. The Baron team comes out very ahead, and then you get to like the furthest end, and it's like, oh, we got Baron, we're just going to win. Now the question, I guess, for us is which side do we think we're on here of this here bell curve? Is that I'm not a hater, but.
You're not a hater, but you're not a believer. That's
Why
what I'm
were
picking
so
up
many
on.
people there at the river? Well, from both teams. It wasn't that important to get Vision over there.
Well, hey, we've got your side, we've got my side. We are going to be going to a quick break, and then we'll be back with you guys with our final match of the night pretty soon. So don't go anywhere, and you'll be able to catch Ruddy Esports versus Nuclear Vikings in live color in just a few moments. See you then.
You can fly, but you'll never get closer to the sun. You may rise at the price of everyone else falling down, but I'm not going down with you. So you may rise, but you'll never make me wanna stick around you.
telling you. This is what makes heartbreak so difficult to heal. Addicts know they're addicted. They know when they're shooting up. But heartbroken people do not. But you do now. But you do now. When your heart is broken, you simply cannot trust what your mind is telling you. You're just feeding your addiction. When your heart is broken, you simply cannot trust what your mind is telling you.
Throw away the city lights, throw away the cars. Give me a clear night underneath all the stars. I don't want no concrete jungles, no suburbia. I just want somewhere that the blue skies are. So come with me to a place afar, where the palm trees dance and sway. So run with me. If we leave right now, we might make it in time. The sunset is fading, but the light's not gone. The ocean waves have just begun. The water is calling, the night is young. So if I lay down, will you come? So if I lay down, will you come? So if I lay down, will you come? I don't wanna leave this place, I don't wanna go. For some reason I felt like that I've always known. This is where we're meant to stay, where we should be. This place is where the sun shines forever free. The sunset is fading, but the light's not gone. The ocean waves have just begun. The water is calling, the night is young. So if I lay down, will you come? Follow, so follow. So if I lay down, will you come? Follow, so follow. So if I lay down, will
Welcome back, one and all. It is time again. It is our final match of the night. We have a hot set coming up of Ruddy Esports versus Nuclear Vikings. Now, in the downtime, I was looking up the names of these rosters because we don't have any graphics throw up of who's on what teams. But this time around, I'm recognizing a lot of names that I have definitely read time and time again pop up in this scene. I'm seeing on the side of Nuclear Vikings, we've got the likes of Fruity Carrots, Eden, Brody, all names that I think I have heard a lot get passed around, but that's not dissimilar to Ruddy. I've heard Akers, Errol, Sin, all, again, names I feel like get talked about a lot. So I've got a feeling like this next match that's coming up, Doctor, is going to be a good one. No, what is it? No way. The one and only? Of course.
Oh, it's a horror of a mute the whole time. Oh, why do we even bother? Just go in the game, whatever. Just...
Never mind.
I know, Zoe. I know. I fixed it now.
Doctor's mic's been off this whole time. No, on the bright side.
Cast the start game. What do I bother?
Oh, I've just realized. Is my audio being pulled from the browser source? Oh!
Almost definitely, actually, because you sound really different in Discord than you do in...
I assume we were
like in the
using
call.
Discord's audio. Hold on, I'm gonna go fix this. You take from me. You guys about to hear my mic just like cowabunga upwards in quality. Oops.
Yeah, I did wonder why that was so different.
No one told me for a whole game.
Akers, start the game. What are you doing in chat? Get involved. He's the wrong team. Also, why does this here document I have say that Ketsuo's a mid laner when we know that he's like not, right? Isn't Errol just always playing now?
I'm
Is
gonna
Ketsuo still on the team? I don't know.
Because that's what did it for my camera last time. So one sec.
Yeah, that'll get it going. Oh, look at that! What a freeze frame! What a time to be alive! I thought it would cut to black, but we got that one instead.
Yeah, you got that one. You can screenshot it. You can take it away. Hopefully that's better. I'm so glad, chat, that none of you told me for a full game. Thanks, gang.
I was really confused why it sounded different for me.
Yeah. I didn't copy it. I also foolishly assumed that my browser would use the same as my system default, which is my my
Rookie
actual
mistake.
microphone. But apparently
You'd
not.
think
It
so,
was
wouldn't
in
you?
fact using my webcam.
Yeah, welcome to the joys of technology and of Windows 10 too. Like that thing just be lying sometimes. It's like, oh, I'm using the default, and you check, it's just not, and you're like, all right, cool, thanks, man.
Yeah, of course. But either way, now that all technical difficulties are hopefully resolved and done with, because we just got one more game left. We're going straight to this draft phase. Luck's already been taken off the table. Ivern, not bands that I think I have seen come up tons and tons in recent years, but I feel like that's a lot to do with the fact that these two teams know each other, right?
Like sometimes we put a little bit of respect on the name of the boys if we're familiar. And that may well be the case this time around, but I don't know. I'm looking over, I'm like, yeah, what are we banning if we're trying to target out Ruddy? I mean, the Jamsu Lux is relatively well known. Maybe the Jamsu Thresh? I don't know. Are we terrified of anything from this ragtag group of misfits?
Middlecott gonna absolutely have you over that comment.
Yeah, Middle Scott, check it.
Oh, middle. I'm not saying that. I feel like I don't want to be on the bad side. You can all you want.
That's what it says.
Yeah, again,
it's written right there.
A heavy interest in jungle coming over on the side of Ruddy, taking out the Ivern, taking out the Skarner, really wanting to shut down Nuclear Vikings. And God, that is the quickest picks I've ever seen. Ash locked, Ziggs locked, Yone locked. Very much wanting this bot lane and having it almost predetermined.
Yeah, we already knew it was pre-jacked. We know what we're looking for. I think Brody's correct me if I'm wrong. I think he plays a fair bit of Ziggs. I feel like I've seen this one before in back in the day. But, everything I said about the Ziggs before does still stand true. Got to make sure you get that snowball going. Got to make sure you get those plays, especially in current year. And finally, a little bit of Shen gameplay. So a man after my own heart, someone who's come out very well after the not really too affected by the item changes. As I understand it, Shield Bash got a pretty hefty buff, so he's loving that one. And also has been a little bit sleeper in the jungle apparently for quite some time. I just sort of see like ruminations of this one coming up all over. So that might not necessarily be a Shen top. Likewise, Shen support pretty good, but not going to be seen this time around with Leona already coming on through and realistically definitely the weakest of his roles. Could be Shen mid, depending on matchup.
It could be,
maybe
but
not
I feel
versus
like
Yeon.
just Shen in general is just in an incredibly nice spot. Those Shield Bash changes, I'm guessing you've seen that it can like the amount of damage output that Shield Bash can do for Shen is terrifying. Just full on terrifying. We're taking K'Sante off the table on the side of Ruddy, which is interesting to me because you've seen Shen go down. So is that almost calling the fact of being like, we think it's Shen jungle or we think it's Shen mid as opposed to Shen top lane?
Yeah, it's still very powerful as a flex, and in K'Sante it looks very scary. So I've seen the true damage coming out from that W, and Aka's plenty of K'Sante games in his day, so understandable to get that one out of the way. The thing about Shen mid, I think it's probably not Yeon top, and Shen mid, every tank is just good versus mages. I don't know what to tell you. Like most mages do not really have a way to deal with someone who builds Spectre's Cowl first item. They kind of just don't. And you get your Sunfire, and then you one hit the wave at the same time as them, and then you're just more useful earlier on than they are. And so, the world of Shen mid, very possible. As anyone will tell you, Xpetsu was running that one instead of top lane for quite some time, but that was last season. So it was before all of these item changes. And actually, I believe that was even, I don't even know if he was playing that mid in season 14. That may have been exclusively a season 13 shenanigan. But still an option depending on matchup. You probably don't want it versus the Yeon. Not really the main strength of the champion if you're going to be putting him up against the Yeoner like that in the mid lane.
Yeah, totally. Lilia comes on the table. That's the jungle for Ruddy confirmed and locked. Seeing how Nuclear responds now, because we'll also be able to get like a good idea on if, like, I feel like the next couple of picks from Vikings will very much dictate of where this Shen's going, which I think is why Ruddy's holding off. You've got a Yone that can flex between top and mid. You've got the other roles that are definitely filled already, and it's very much like we can counter this Shen depending on where we think it's going. Nuclear Vikings going for Gnar, which I think is kind of predetermining as this is our top laner. So that means Shen jungle is actually looking like the wave.
Yeah, most likely then going to be the Shen jungle, probably not Shen mid, just into the Yeon. I mean, you could if you really wanted to, but I don't know. The thing is, if you don't have an actual AD here, you are going to be very low on your old AD damage, right? You don't want to have like, oh, we want Shen mid, like Shen mid, Shen jungle, and then a Ziggs as our AD. So like, yeah, we can't really afford to not have another carry in mid lane. And so that's it is still technically some flex shenanigans, right? Like this could be Ziggs bot, this could be Smolder bot. Either one of them could go mid. It could be Smolder top with Shen mid. That one's seeming unlikely. Wait, no, because it's Gnar, isn't it? So so Shen is just locked into jungle. Yeah, okay. I'm lost in the source. Shen's locked in jungle, but Ziggs or Smolder, we're not too sure which one's going where yet.
Cassiopeia as well. Guessing to go mid lane. Yeah, definitely trying to. Yeah, no.
Nah. That's for the Shen. I think that's like Cassio top for Shen, and he's not having a good time. Well, he's having an okay time.
Cool.
I think your entire champion is based around dashing in. If you get put on a slow, you can't dash in. And what you want to do is you want to dash in, get your passive, get a few procs, and then walk out. Versus a ranged champion, you can never really get the drag through in the ways you want. You can't position the blade like you want to. And then if you dash in, they put the slow on top of you, they speed boost themselves, you're just going to take a huge amount of exit damage off of that. You can get poked out before you can dash in. If you get poked out and then you go, oh, I'll turn this around by dashing in, and then they put the root on you, like, oh, cool, I've just taken all this damage for nothing. And then obviously as well, your W is just a useless ability. So I think it's not a great lane, for the Shen up in top. And that's why I assume that the Cassio's going on up there, because Shen Yeon top lane is okay. Mid lane, it's not really getting what Shen wants out of the lane, but top, it's fine.
So I'm guessing, just to recap, you think Smolder's going mid lane?
It's Shen jungle. It's every single time.
That's what I was thinking. It's Shen jungle.
The entire thing was irrelevant. I keep forgetting that it's. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was really curious when you're like, oh no, it's like the Cass is picked for it, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, we're looking at Shen jungle here. So I can still imagine Cass in top lane to kind of like snuff out Gnar. I mean, it does do a lot, especially in team fights. It will stop Gnar. It will stop Grounded will stop Smolder E, right? definitely.
Actually, don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have a
So
little look. See, have a little check.
it might do
It's
'cause it's
hard
not
to
like a dash; it's just an empowered move. So I'm curious how that works.
Yeah, but I
Um,
think grounding stops anything that is just considered a move, unless it's like literally a move speed steroid. I'll have a little look. See.
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna
I feel, especially
guess
coming
Yon
last,
versus Nah.
Cass is good. Also, yeah, stops the owner as well. So it snuffs out a hell of a lot of things that you're looking for here. But like on the side of that bot lane, I'm seeing Braum, and I'm like, if your whole goal was to stop people dashing, did we want Braum, or could we have been looking at a Poppy angle instead? Which then no, you don't think so?
We got what we came for. No,
Yeah.
the Braum Ash goes crazy. Braum is
fair.
fine. So we don't need more. We don't need more than this. Like, this is just a nice little touch.
Yeah.
Let's have a little look see about this whole Smolder situation. Is it blocked by what you call it? By plus grounded, disabled. Yes. Okay. So it can't do it during a during miasma. Cannot cast it.
So
I wonder if he gets pulled down. Does he get pulled down?
I'd assume so.
I think so.
But yeah, so this Cass pick is actually doing quite a lot. It's snuffing out every single member of Nuclear Vikings team. All their movement options just gone and off the table. And if you're a Gnar that can't move, you're a Smolder that can't move. Hell, if you're a Ziggs that can't move, all of those characters become like pretty much sitting ducks if they're caught in the wrong spot by a Cassiopeia ground. I could very much imagine it coming in clutch for these like later game team fights, especially as we saw in the last game, where we saw that the team that was kind of built for team fighting developed around the idea of playing as a unit rather than in the laning phase did work out quite nicely. I'm curious to see how it plays out. I'm excited to see Shen jungle because I've seen it around. I've seen it get talked about. I don't think I've actually watched it happen yet. So I'm excited to see how this goes into Ruddy's composition.
Yeah, from what I've heard, the clear is actually better than like you expect. I don't know if jungle item is just that OP. Like, 'cause in my head, I'm like useless. But if the camp guy, if your little doggy is able to clear just that nicely for you, it might end up working on out. And then of course, it's worth noting, later on, very good versus Ashe, Yone, and Braum, right? All champions are very heavily dependent on their autos, and whilst the Shen W doesn't last very long, if you pop it at the right time, you're going to be eating like 3 or 4 of the empowered Ashe autos. You're going to be, if something has been set up around Braum getting that 4th hit, getting the stun through, and then like they're ready to all commit onto the stun, and boom, you don't get stunned. This can go very poorly, very quickly for them. Likewise for Yone, I think it will stop his Q from stacking. So he goes on in, he tries to find out something, you just press W, he doesn't get it. Like, even without taking into consideration the damage part that it's going to block, just ruining people's potential for combos, or ruining their plan of what they thought would happen when they pressed the button, even disregarding the damage, is very valuable as well.
Yeah, just matching each other's tempo, taking abilities off the table, fully just waiting for their cooldowns to go up, and then I've now got an opportunity to go in. Especially loving the fact that we can just snuff out multiple options with one button press. And on the flip side, for everything that, I kind of mentioned why Braum when you could always Poppy to do the same thing that the Cass is doing. I actually, thinking about it more, like it a lot. Everything that Cass stops is great. Everything she doesn't stop, Braum does by tossing up a shield, right?
We're not picking the Cassia for the block. We're not too worried about that. It's a nice touch to have in lanes, but like, this is not what this comp is about. Like, it's a little extra. The thing for Braum is just really good with Ashe because you both slow people, right?
Yeah.
Like, Ashe, very long range, very safe, so Braum can leave if he needs to. Also, he has something to jump back to if he sticks around in the lane, and then Ashe has an auto reset. Like, the Q does work. So Ashe auto someone or W's them, they get slowed. Braum hits a Q. Ashe auto then reset, so you get another auto. Suddenly this person's on 3 stacks and Braum's now in melee range. Boom, 4. They are kind of dead, or at the very least, they're losing half the health bar. So, like, we're really not too worried about people dashing. Like, in the context of, like, Shen lane, it's a nice touch, but it's mostly the E. But then, like, looking at everyone else, like, okay, it would stop Leona engaging, except it won't, because when you stand still to cast it, Leona's going to drop her ult on you, and then whilst you're stunned, she's going to walk through it and then throw an E, or she's just going to throw the E during the duration of your miasma cast. And when she's on top of the cloud, she can't cast the E. But if she's already cast it, she will still pull herself through, right? So she won't get stopped from being able to do that part. It doesn't stop you moving. It just stops you trying to put a movement ability in. If the ability's already gone through, then you're absolutely fine. And that's also why things like Hookshot and the Flag and Drag will work as well. But neither of those are in this game. But still, it's we're not too fussed about it.
Okay, cool, interesting. I'm just excited to see how this plays out. I am not someone that can massively like look at comps and then fully predict how it's going to go. So hey, I'm going to be happily surprised no matter what comes up.
My days. Cast the start game. Let's get it going. Where we at?
We're
we got
currently
going?
loading
I'm
in. We'll be ready to go in just.
Have we figured it out yet?
Yeah.
You don't
if
know
I was,
that.
if I was to
I haven't
ask
been
you,
counting.
Doctor, how like looking at these drafts, is there any team that you're feeling more than the other, or are you drifting either way?
Yeah,
or-
ruddy up.
Ruddy up, easy as that, huh?
It really is so simple as the teams are on the wrong sides, but hey ho, it's a bit of a ruddy up angle. Right, what we're seeing, it is going to be Yone top versus Gnar, I guess, but it is then the Smolder mid and Ziggs down on bot, and I'm not too sure about how this one works on out. I don't know how the Ziggs will fare trying to get push up into the Ashe there. I'm not sure if that one. I think that the Ashe just has enough lane control. Similarly with the Braum being able to block Ziggs bombs as well, it's very valuable. That Braum can not only block, you can block his Qs, you can block the mines, you can just block the empowered auto. It makes it very difficult for Ziggs to get wave control when the Braum is confident in the matchup and knows what to save that unbreakable for. And Jamsu's a good player. I think you'll be able to pull that one off.
Totally, yeah. We're getting this set up at the start, same as pretty much last game again. No one's pushing any kind of aggressive angle. Happy to take it slow, right?
Yeah, nothing too crazy. We get a little 5-man fan, but nobody goes for an invade.
Speaking of actually saying no one goes for it, instead it is going to be an angle
I
here.
lied.
On the side of, I believe that is Ruddy, who are going in on just fully into the Vikings jungle, trying to take that buff early, trying to rob Fruity Carrots of that little bit of extra XP for Shen. If they walk to the wrong side of the map, it's just time wasted, right?
Yeah, but I think that if you've played versus a Lilia at one point in your life, you should know that this is going to happen. You should know that your chickens are gone, and especially with Sin and Jamsu coming to lane late. And I think from looking at the minimap, it looked like they came from Tribe, but I didn't see any pings in effect to that. So presumably Fruity Carrot is going to know that this is going on, but I am watching and he is clearing the same direction. He's still making his way on down towards his bot side camp. So if he hasn't seen this one coming, then Crisis is going to really gotten himself a nice and cheeky advantage here as the Lilia starting off this game. Because you see, Crisis just runs straight over to his top side to defend it, and he's assumed that Fruity Carrot has read the situation, and Fruity sort of just hasn't. So that's just a free 2 camp, technically 4 advantage for your boy Mohamed Abdulaziz, aka Crisis.
Especially considering the fact that Crisis actually walked straight through mid. No pings from them either. Just kind of marched up into their top side. So that should have, in my eyes at least, been all the warning they needed. So you got all the warning they needed. Fruity Carrot taking that loss of farm and trying to turn it into a gank, but there's just a little bit too much early warning for the players of Ruddy. Just kind of get out the way, play safe.
Yeah, and you can see Fruity's not turning this into an invade onto bot side either. He has now hit out a blast cone and seen, not blast cone, Scribe's Bloom, and seen that the blue is up. But like he should know that if he saw that Crisis went through mid lane. As he turned, he's turned it around. He's not going for the farm. He's going for the gank. Meanwhile, up on top, Crisis has traded flashes with the Gnar, but I don't think we've turned that into much, as the Taunt Flash will come on through, but Sin has cleansed. So, again, not really a lot gained for Fruity Carrot here. As you can see, just how little health Gnar manages to escape on there. At least it means that Crisis has not continued to expand any farm lead by picking up his bot side camps. Instead, he opted into that gank.
Yeah, definitely. On the side of the Smolder mid lane, though, like, obviously, it's Smolder. I'm not going to spend too much time being like, oh, obviously, it's going to take them a while to get going. Because, like, obviously, but it doesn't matter. Wait, hold on. No, that heal's going to just about push through, keeping them alive. The recall as well, just, don't push it. Don't push your luck any further than you have to. Jamsu, looking to interrupt maybe, isn't going to make it in time, though. Is going to have to backpedal away from Fruity Carrots, though. This is a rock and a hard place type of situation, as Shen is just now full free reign to sit there and smack you and smack you and smack you. But Errol does
Oh.
know the situation, moves up, and does give Jamzu that free opportunity to get out.
I was wondering why Jamsu didn't just walk through the turret and like jump over to Errol instead, and it's because he's level 2. He's been roaming a lot and has not actually got access to the stand behind me quite just yet. Instead, he's got to walk around like a peasant. As finally, he's going to hit a little recall here after this gank, or after this roam, and doesn't mean that Sin left a little bit alone on the bot side for a while, but realistically, that is just solo XP, which will be getting Sin closer and closer to level 6, and with Crisis in the area finally clearing out his bot side, you do have a little bit of cover to stop any potential dives that may have been being planned by Nuclear Vikings.
Yeah, totally. You mentioned it that it was just kind of like it's going to become solo lane XP, and I think Sin is playing to that advantage really, really well. I'm noticing that they have Pulse, so maybe this was the plan from the start, of just like knowing that Jamsu was going to want to roam around, walk around a hell of a lot, and help as many lanes as possible. Just giving Sin the angle to be like, I'm not fighting. I don't want to force this. Speaking of forcing this, though, they're forced into a fight here. There's not Sandwich and Fruity Carrot moves in. Sin just absolutely trapped. You are not getting out of this anytime soon. The Braum just cannot do enough and push backwards. They try and get more blood spilled on the side of Jamsu, but they're just going to have to take first blood. And frankly, I'd be taking that all the way to the bank if I was them. In the meantime, though, in top lane, we are looking at a second counter gank. Lilia coming in, trying to get a bit of damage on Gnar, but it's all the Akka's show so far. Finally does find a Q, getting that speed underway. Could just be a kill here. Yeah, it doesn't even need to pop the recall on the E. Instead, passing the kill over to the Lilia, facilitating that better amount of lane pressure they can carry on as long as they keep on with this momentum.
The gank finally finding its place down on bot side, but again, Fruity Carrot now committing on down to this means that Crisis shows up. Yeah, he spends a little bit longer getting that kill on top than he wanted to, but he's going to be able to walk on through into that jungle, steal away a couple of camps. I thought he was going to go for the grubs on spawn, but I think that he actually feels confident enough that oh my god, he's not a steal. 20 HP! But, you can still get it. Oh my god, that's the stun and a half coming out from Errol.
Yes, it is.
What's happening here?
Nowhere to go. Yeah, the grounded, keeping Brody locked in. No bombs, no satchels, no nothing to get them out of that situation. It was just, yeah, 3 trapped against the wall and the dragon and multiple members of Ruddy. I mean, you said it was the Ruddy show. You predicted that from the start. And if they keep on playing like that team fight, I don't know, I might become a believer as well.
What even happened in this situation? Were you just doing this without smite the whole time? That's crazy and terrifying. Oh, and there it is. He used his W as well just to block the like 2 autos of the Drake. It's like, that's not more than the Ashe. Actually, with Cloud Drake it might be. But good lord, we sort of get a little bit stuck in the pit. It took so long to do it. I was going to say something about how long it would take them to do that Drake, but I was like, no, it's Cloud Drake. It's the squishiest one. They'll get it done pretty quick. But it's long enough for Sin to get back to lane, you know, and also presumably get a bit of wave control, get onto the wave as well, because he was able to roam on over, and then that's just 3 kills picked up. Errol somehow getting the 3-man stun out of that. We take those, and Crisis not punished at all for going for that top lane invade, because he manages to get the grubs as well. So kind of just huge wins across the board for Ruddy here.
Yeah, and just as the camera kind of showed us there, a lane set up to crash for Errol. I'm not even sure they're going to make it in tons of time to pick it up. A little bit of scrappage in that bot lane. They're doing all they can to poke Sin out. We saw that incredibly nice gank earlier, but it seems like that's the only thing that's going to slow this Ashe down. Very, very happy to play patient, never overstepping their mark, never giving any kind of leeway, knowing what you're against, knowing that you're looking at a Leona and a Ziggs that is really going to punish you if you ever get stunned. Sandwich, they see you, bud. You're going to have to move.
Oh, we do have double sums available on Sin now, as we also see Errol roaming away down on bot. So Sin feeling a bit more confident, you know, only ever really going to die when they don't have those get out of jail cards available. Now, I don't think anyone knows that Fruity Carrot is level 6 yet. Like, maybe you can infer it, but with such a massive jungle lead for Crisis, I wouldn't be surprised if they thought that Fruity was still level 5. Except that he's lurking his way around that bot side, thinking about potential for a gank if an arrow was thrown on out. He's waited long enough to take his reset and get back out onto the map. Very important to go and buy CDR as often as you can on Shen jungle, just in case you are forced into an unexpected ult. You don't want to be doing that when you've got, when you've got enough money to take 30 seconds off of that cooldown. And maybe it's ult soon, as you think that Akranos could be in a little bit of danger here on that mid lane if Errol keeps on finding favorable trades. Crisis now made his way down on bot, will be spotted out.
Ooh, the Enchanted Crystal Ammo arrow is really, really good for getting Not Sandwich stuck in this kind of situation, setting up perfectly for the Lilia to come in. But that's a lot of damage already. Having to use the W to get out, give the kill over to Sin. You love to see it. Everyone getting out of that scot-free on the side of Ruddy, and Nuclear Vikings dropping that kill. Now, I do want to draw attention to the top of the scoreboard, where Nuclear Vikings actually undefeated so far this season, 3-0. Ruddy being 2-1 up means that just a win here to Ruddy would even this out, would make it 3-1 to both teams. That's definitely the position that they want to be in.
Oh.
In the time being, though, lovely heal off of the ult there. Smolder calling for his mother, but can't quite secure any kind of a kill from it. Just a little bit of sustain, keeping you in the lane for longer. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's a good little bit of movement. He was dodging about, but didn't quite really have any damage or any way to stop Errol from sort of just walking away. But Errol with no mana shouldn't really feel confident to stick around, especially when Arachos has access to a stand United. But Errol feeling relatively safe, I suppose. Will come ahead, not only pick up that wave, pick up the next one, and then should have the TP up in time if necessary. Arachos is going to take this time, crash that wave, and go look for a reset, and probably then use that to come and get another wave crashed and play for these grubs. But it's not going to be off the back of a major item spike. It really is just a Sheen that he's picking up here, and I think it's a little bit too early. You know, those grubs not quite spawned up yet, and Errol is going to be able to teleport back and catch the wave in the same fashion as we do now see Fruity Carrot looking up on top side. Takes a little bit of a taunt in. Does that connect onto Akaz? I don't know. It looks like it doesn't. Akaz gets out nice and easy. Now Arachos a little bit caught out, but does manage to stop Errol from recalling quite just yet.
Yeah, getting slowed down by that Swallow Seed there does mean that it's full vision found on the enemy Smolder, but Ruddy just not wanting to push it. Again, you don't have the full intel. You don't know exactly where everyone on Nuclear Vikings are. You don't want to overextend yourself. Speaking of, Akaz more than happy to push up against a full Gnar and Shen double combo. So just allowing Fruity Carrots to go back here is a pretty safe play indeed. Errol?
I don't think Fruity wants to recall here.
Oh, no.
Because Fruity's just going to have to... Is he going to ult back in?
Yeah, I've got no idea, but for now it's a very rough spot if you're not. But actually, all of Ruddy have to turn around on this. They can't push this too hard, even though there's three of them, because yeah, the Shen ults right back in, getting that shield off, getting that extra bit of defense onto the Gnar, and just, yeah, it goes from a situation where it's a impromptu perfect tower dive to a, we can't do this. We've just got to leave.
No, I think you're pretty happy with that if you're Ruddy.
Really?
It's realistic with time. You just got a 3-minute cooldown.
Yeah.
He was already there. He didn't need to ult. The only thing he bought was the Forbidden Idol, which is, you know, CDR and shield power makes your ult very strong. But if you're recalling so that you can buy that, so that you can ult back in, you're essentially in the exact same position you were. Like, you've got the item that's only good for your ult, and, you know, for using your ult, and then you've used your ult instantly. And it's like, well, we're exactly where we started, which just seems rather unnecessary. It has turned out that, yeah, okay, the dive doesn't work. We still get the grubs. You know, all 6 being picked up by Valilia, as is often the case. And we do now have another Drake being started on up. Well, we know how it went last time around. Errol blast coning on in, does have the ult. And Crisis has a sleep as well. Oh, and he just walks in and just smites it out.
Yep, full steal, happy to sit back on that and slam the button when it comes up. And then we go out to pick as well onto Not Sandwich. So just all around up for Ruddy, or is it Ruddy up? It's definitely one of the two, right?
Well met, human.
That's going to be a little bit more. They're going to try find a little dive over onto Akranos. I don't know. We got Jamsu in the area, but the plan might just be to steal out a couple of camps instead. Do still have access to basically all the CCs that we need. We've got the sleep and we got the ult as well. Oh, never mind. By the ult, I did of course mean the Errol's ult. And that one is used just for a little bit of damage, but should actually be able to just pick up a kill there. Oh, does manage to take down with the burn. Before having to flash on out to stay alive. Well, the Buffalo jungle, but I don't think anyone's dying here.
I don't know, time will tell, especially as Errol's coming in. That sleep is kind of huge though, setting up perfectly for Errol to get that damage off and open
the
up
buns!
the window for Jamsu to get that final shot in to get the kill as well. Lilia was all picking up a kill on the way out. That is the perfect way that could have gone for Ruddy. Just time and time again, Doctor, you said it. If you're Ruddy, you're happy. And I don't think there's been really a trade or a scuffle where Ruddy has not come away happy.
Well, that's it. Again, they just sort of don't really have to die there. Fruity Carrot just W's the stun. We can sort of all walk out, but he kind of uses it on nothing, and then we all get stunned by the Brawl Mortar, and then it's sleep on top and all that, and it's, well, what was the Yeah, okay, we sort of die. Okay. 3 kills going on over to Ruddy. Pit themselves that. Do not manage to get the turret off the back of that, but have skilled themselves at least a couple of plates and done a good job again of shutting down the Ziggs. Like we saw last game, Ziggs not really getting too many plates in their favor. Meanwhile, Crisis keeping a masterclass going on in that jungle. You can see he's making progress onto his second item with Did Do Boots, and Fruity Carrot very delayed because feels like he has to get the Bammies for clear speed, but then he wants Redemption for just like being able to impact the map. And Redemption a very strong item on Shen if you're not a laner. Because like, you know, in lane, pretty useless. But if you don't actually have to worry about fighting people, really nice item for him. So we'll be able to pick that one up. But still, that's a really cheap item, and he still hasn't got it yet because he had to sack an extra 1k onto the Bammies. Meanwhile, you look at Crisis. Crisis has already finished his item. He's absolutely chilling now, getting control of this here river alongside Jamsu before moving on towards that there Herald.
Yeah, a little bit of push there on that top side. Not only trying to pick up just a little bit of blood, a little bit of a kill on this Gnar as well. Fruity Carrot can push up on this tower. It's the same old situation, Doctor. I've seen this one before, of having 3 members of Ruddy pushed up, of having Fruity Carrot up there. But this time, Fruity Carrot's not ready to rock. And this time, Ruddy, knowing that there's nothing really to bait out, instead pivot this into an angle of we have pressure in lane, both mid and in top. We can afford to just turn this into an angle and pick.
Make our way on over, grab that their cheeky objective. Always the plan. Move on through, pick that one up. It's worth noting, had not noticed before, that Errol... Oh, actually, maybe I'm about to take this back. Errol 10 stacks on the Measure Eyes, but not getting stunned by the Leona. Oh, means he will still keep those 10 stacks. Very valuable on the Cassio. It's basically your only source of move speed that you're ever going to get is getting a 10 stack Measure Eyes. And with the Seraphs being finished pretty soon as well, only about 28 stacks left up on that. Means that Errol's going to be pretty hard to kill, as he's going to have a shield, as well as a fair bit of movement available. Now, Arachnos has teleported down on into the bot lane and sort of put himself in a 1v3, but Fruity is nearby and does have the ult if necessary, but again, don't really want to ult someone who you're already stood next to, which is not the most effective use of the ult. Because Arachnos has the ult to clear out the wave, and Fruity goes very low.
Yeah, definitely big damage from Sim, but it's just
Fruity,
not
just
enough.
recall, man.
Yeah,
just recall. You have ult. What are you still here? What do you think you're baiting?
Hey, God only knows, but Errol has shown up, and I guess if you're
He's
Fruity
just
Carrot,
dead.
yeah, you're happy to go in, but you are still going to be taking that blood. Errol finding kill after kill. That Medjay is just racking up further and further and further. That's 6-0 to Errol. That's a Rift Herald going down. 4 players of Nuclear Vikings bite the dust, and this tower is going to be following suit pretty soon. Ruddy have just suddenly flipped what was already a dominating lead into a undisputable one, as they have just fully proven if they can beat you fully under your tower, they can beat you anywhere they choose to team fight. And that is a message that Nuclear Vikings cannot refute.
No, that's a pretty confident message to stand, walk on through, go have a couple kills, because again, we're just pretty ahead at this point. Again, I'll say it, I don't think Fruity Carrot the most confident on the Shen. I think this one has been a bit of a, I saw this one on Twitter, I'm going to bust it out angle, because I think again that, like, could he not just walk away from the turret? Just walk away, taunt into that bush just to get as much distance as fast as possible, slam a recall, and then TP back in with, or ult back in with a redemption, because it's like, if you stick around, you're going to die anyway. So there's no reason to not leave. Like, if you leave and they dive, and the Smolder dies before you can ult, you were going to die anyway. So, like, I don't know, it feels like we're a bit afraid to ever give anything up here. Seeing, you know, things like really committing onto that first Drake, and now on this play as well, it's like, we can just give things up sometimes. It's okay to be like, hey, one of us has to die. Or, like, you know, leaving the dive on top lane, but then ulting back into it. It's like, sometimes we can just give things up. As Arachnos ends up, you know, giving up their own life a little bit. We can't be this far up. You don't have any turrets to fall back to. And Errol, very strong, manages to pick up his 25th stack.
Yeah, it's just that in a spot where it's like there is not a single member of Nuclear Vikings that can challenge Errol. If you do not know where Errol is on the map, assume that it is not safe to push up your current lane. It's the unfortunate situation that Arachnos is facing, because on Smolder, especially like your own 3, right, you're behind, you're sitting on a Triforce, but that's it. You need to get those stacks up, you need to get them back soon, you need to hit critical mass, because the problem is, if this game goes on for not much longer, you're never going to get the chance to hit critical mass. So Arachnos desperately trying to find CS, find little hits on players wherever they can, but unfortunately you're in a spot where you can't really afford to pick fights with players. On the flip side though, in top lane, Errol is moving in to punish what just happened, but Shu did get a kill up there. Fruity Carrots as well ulting in to try and protect Shu as much as they can, but it isn't going to be enough. That is how many stacks on Medjay's? Yep, the full 25.
That was a full thing.
Locked in. 9 kills, 0 deaths. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not the kind of person to cool games before the Nexus is imploded.
I am.
I know you
I'll
are,
do it.
but I don't know.
I'll
if
do it.
there's- I just don't know if there's a single.
He's up
angle-
4K.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a single angle where Nuclear Vikings can contest Errol, even if it is a team fight into a team fight.
No, he's chilling. He's fine. No one can really tank him. I mean, the problem is as well that even if Not Sandwich gets onto him, because he's got flash, he's got the shield available as well. Like, he doesn't even die to a CC chain, and then he just carries on doing what he's doing. He's a bit of a dive come on through, you know. Crisis does take a fair bit of damage, actually caught up by a bomb as well. He will eventually go down, but now Errol is joining the backside of the fight. And can he get one? Oh, he just taps and did. Oh god.
I love the Ziggs out there, just trying to like noticing that there's that little angle to get away with it. Errol's still alive and kicking though. And you know what this means? That's priority target
Oh, he's
numero
getting a bit
uno.
poked.
And they do get away with it really well. That Ziggs damage coming in troves. It doesn't matter if you are behind. Brody can still slam Errol and force them to back off. You're 1-1, and yet you almost got a 10-0 Cassiopeia. So it does seem that this team fighting angle for Nuclear Vikings is the way forward. Shock horror, right?
Oh, that's why. No, I'm very confused with this. No, Errol's Seraph's still on cooldown. Has to be a little careful. But you are right in that the one thing for the Cassio is, you know, very built on actually being able to hit people with your E. That's going to give you healing, and it's also going to give you the move speed, right? So getting poked out is a real threat for the Cassio. I think if Errol has their Seraphs up there, they can sort of keep just running in a straight line to try and close that gap. But a well-placed Satchel or a Flash, you know, coming out from Brody could have been very dangerous. Ultimately, you know, gold is picked up. I think there was a shutdown, but it was only like a 400 gold shutdown on to Crisis, and I think that went over to Fruity Carrot if I saw right in that fight. So, you know, not the end of the world. You know, okay for Nuclear Viking. We got ourselves something, but realistically, sometimes when you have that kind of fight, it can just mean for Ruddy, they're like, oh, cool, we won't do that again. Whew. Didn't realize we had a chance of throwing. Like, you've sort of let them know what they're now weak to. You've been like, oh yeah, Errol's like, actually I do need to be careful about poke. I didn't think about that one before. So you gotta be a little careful. You know, this may have opened Ruddy's eyes a little.
Yeah, of course. It's the classic thing, right? Of if it bleeds. And you definitely just saw that snake bleed. So you know there's an angle
No,
for
it's an if I bleed situation.
If I bleed, they can kill me.
Ooh.
Oh god, they can kill me. But this
Well, I'm
is
not gonna do that again.
Yeah, this is a full setup for Baron Nashor here, clearing out that little bit of vision. Full reset on the side of Nuclear Vikings. Obviously, Fruity Carrots can jump in at a moment's notice, but instead we aren't seeing Ruddy begin that siege on Baron. Doctor, why haven't they?
They haven't got anyone set up yet. They got to get their waves in. They also don't need to do it. Like, I mean, they probably will because they're very strong, but they don't need to. Like, if anyone comes to contest this, they can just turn the fight around, but they don't want to just flip it raw, right? You know, we can go ahead, we can set up a couple of waves first. We can make sure that no one's actually in range to contest it. If anyone does, we can just send an Ash Arrow and try and turn this fight around now. We don't have to actually contest it. The arrow does come on through, but it won't connect onto anyone. Again, it's like, doing that Baron with no prep is the only single way that Ruddy can throw. I think that's what they don't even have to do it. But they think, oh, we might as well just get it now that we've set up and we're here, and they won't be able to collapse in time. And they're actually all, because they have those Baron recalls, going to be able to take a little bit of a cheeky reset, get out, get even more money, and then probably make their way on over towards that Drake. Again, they don't really need it. They could just send this as a 5-stack down mid. They may want to get the Drake just because all fun objective is on the map. But realistically, it's maybe not the most efficient use of their Baron time. Given that I don't think that they're playing for Soul, I don't think this game goes on long enough in their perfect world to get a Soul. So what you want to do instead is just 5 mana, just bomb it down mid, bomb it down bot, push something in, get an in-hit with the Baron whilst it's up, and then when the Baron's running out, that's when you can back out and take the Drake on your way towards your own jungle.
Yeah, I also did just note as we were focusing on the Cassio and highlights that Rabadon's, that was like 750 plus AP.
Yeah, it's
my god. Yeah, surprise. I wonder why she's hitting like an absolute octane-powered 16-wheeler. And on top of that as well, is fast as hell. I wonder why. Yeah, that is 503 additional damage on the E.
Cheeky
that is
700
nuts.
damage E. Okay, alright.
Just a little bit of damage, you know, not much. not
That is
surprising.
3 E's enough to kill Brody.
That's insane. On the flip side, by the way, yeah, this is a full just solo dragon angle for Ruddy, which cannot be contested by Nuclear Vikings. Because if you've currently got the fact that so many members of Nuclear Vikings are threats, you're looking at the fact that Errol can 1v5 basically. Akka's always going to be a threat. That is a Yone with some items, with some momentum underneath them, and they all have Baron. You need to be defending your lanes because that could be the angle for the game to just end. And yep, Errol just happy to chase you, happy to sit there, hit you over and over and over, and you get stuck, you get grounded, and you get slammed until you just cannot come back.
Another one picked on up there, and that is the alleged tank. Although, I mean, you know, Leona, when you can't get your aftershock or your W off, not that tanky, but no one's really going to be that tanky in any situation versus Errol right here as Crisis crashes on in a bot wave. Sin doing the same on mid, so we've got a coordinated team effort coming on through to get minions on into Nuclear Vikings' base, and not really a lot to be done. A collapse maybe being attempted onto Mohamed Abdulaziz over there, but he's gone ahead and thrown out a cheeky loot and lullaby. And so no commitment was ever really found on top of Crisis there. It's actually a bit of a Nart will come on through. Nice stun as well, but Crisis with the flash and Sonya's available. Feeling pretty safe.
I love that reversal. Yeah, the flash being, the Zonya's being covered perfectly by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, giving the time to rally the troops. Ruddy all shows up at the same time. It's a full, just split angle. You've got all the team in bot lane. You've got Akka's in mid. Towers, inhibs are falling left and right. And if you're Nuclear Vikings, you recognize the back foot you're on. You're seeing this situation. You're recognizing the fact that, especially with Fruity Carrots down, you just don't really have the bulk to contest anything that this team is doing. So you just have to sit on the tower, rely on the fact they don't have waves. But it's only a matter of time till these minions rock up.
Reversal. We get it. By in-game player. Save it for 2x KO.
Speak for your... Oh, you know I'm waiting for 2x KO. But that's
I get
not the point.
bullied at the local when I say upper and lower bracket. 'Cause that's what we call it in League, and they say, no, it's winners and losers. Well, that seems a bit harsh. But are we using a bit of a cheeky Smolder ult to face check? Poke people out, but that's alright. I mean, we're all gonna get out anyway. Ruddy picks us up too, and they're gonna make their way out, get a couple of camps on the way, and yeah, not really a lot going on for Nuke in this game, is there?
I feel like, obviously, Errol's been the star of the show, right? But I felt there's a lot to be said. I mean, you picked up on the fact that, like, this Shen didn't look too strong in the jungle. Like, it's not too practice of a thing. Maybe it's hard to say.
I think it's the Fruity Carrot who don't look too strong on the Shen. The Shen jungle is not getting a fair assessment in this one, because it just looks like Fruity's just not very comfortable on it, you know?
That's more what I meant, like the practice and maybe the team play wasn't necessarily there, because in a dream world, we would have loved to have seen the Shen facilitating Smolder a hell of a lot more to let it get that kind of like wind under its wings that it really needed to come alive. But yeah, left to their own devices, Errol can pick up a couple kills on that, then begin to roam, begin to walk around. That's the power of mid lane, is that you can just be at times a second jungler. You can rock up, you can stack up your Medjais like we've seen Errol doing, and now we're going for those 3 inhibs. We're trying for the full trifecta, going all the way to just get as much pressure on this final bit of gameplay on the towers as we can.
Let's see if we can't crash our way on through here, and oh, a bit burnt coming on out. Nice bomb from Brody. Actually does bring Errol rather low. Jamsu as well. Crisis diving a bit too deep, and there's a lot of low health bars. Maybe Brody can try and find out a little bit of bouncing bomb here. Ooh, flash out. Will keep Jamsu alive. Akka's turning up on the wrong side of the fight. Ooh, TP flank from, I think that's a Kranos there on the Wolves, though.
Oh,
Errol
Errol's
to turn it around. Errol
gonna
down low. The
there
bomber.
it is. That's the shutdown right there. Errol falls. That's a fat chunk of gold going over to Nuclear Vikings. But is it too little, too late? Time will tell. You are noticing from the fact that health bars are now having that little line on them, showing that Smolder has gotten going. We have got that execute online. And honestly, not to like, wow, Caster's moment this, but I'm not entirely sold that this game is over just yet. It's 21 kills to 7.
That's insane.
I know, I really know, but like, it feels like there's been multiple angles so far where Ruddy could have, like, maybe it's getting into this Nexus area that they've been a little bit shaky, not as confident as they have been everywhere else. Nuclear Vikings' defense is strong. They're good at doing this.
It seems like a little bit deep from Crisis is really all that happened there. And again, yeah, we do see the power of the poke coming out from Roddy. You know, if Errol is not able to, assassinate someone or hit or heal, it will go wrong. However, with the Baron, there's no such thing as too deep. You will always be able to walk in. Now watch for TP flank coming on through. Errol is behind the team.
Yep, that's a full jam to the first blood spilled of this fight. Both supports. No, one's offline. That's actually the Smolder that's gone down. That's a big deal. You've got no more.
That's a lot of CC.
It's going to be a lot harder to do with the bigger bulk of your enemies. Ziggs falls. Errol also dies, which is, again, that's a core bit of the damage.
Akka's TP
fallen away. Akka's trying to come with the TP, but again, not to repeat myself, but too little, too late. Can they turn around and go and catch Akka's in this moment? They caught it quick enough, but not Sandwich not showing up quick enough to save one of their towers. Another one's still alive. Sin, the Lilia, and Akka's all pushing up here, trying to find a little bit of pressure, and they get it. Fruity Carrot falls. That's a big chunk of their defense gone away. Lilia also bites that bullet, gets a kill online, and Gnar is the last to fall as this Nexus should just start getting slammed. This is the game. I doubt Smolder can do much coming back. I like the Zhonya's there. Just again, we want to get these kills. We want to see it out. No way does this game not end. Yes, it does. A couple bonks, and that will seal the deal. That is 25 kills to 10 on one of the longer games that we've definitely seen on this season. But Ruddy evening this out. It's not 3 wins to none on Nuclear Vikings. It's not 2 wins to 1 on the side of Ruddy. It's 3-1 both sides. Doctor, you were a Ruddy fan from the start, and I think it was pretty well informed.
I mean, yeah, they pulled it off. I haven't seen too much of Errol. I want to see a little bit more after that one. He popped off a little bit, bit of a throwy. Did give over 2,000 golden bounties. Let's not ignore that part. 1,000 of it never got spent. But, just be a little bit careful. We don't get too confident, lads. But outside of that, we can sort of just walk around and do what we want. And it is, I want to say, mostly off the back of Crisis, just early game pathing, having just complete control over the map to do whatever he wants. Not really allowing Fruity Carrot to ever do anything. And then, of course, off the back of that, Drake as well. Such an overcommitment from Nuclear Vikings that Ruddy capitalize on very, very nicely. Now, let it be known that whilst we will be going away shortly, there will be more Foreign Nations UK action, as tomorrow in the other tournament, we do have Paragon playing. We have the Ruddy Brod crossover team, which I'm pretty sure is just Ruddy, except Sin's not playing. Instead, they've got Nemly or someone. I don't know who they've got except for. I think that the team is mostly the same. But we got them coming in, and then Verdant are also fielding their second roster coming on through for the was it the Sunshine thing? I don't know. Well, as Brackish was meant to shout this one out before. Is it the Sunshine Cup? No, we already had that one.
That was the summer. Surprisingly,
that was
the
the summer one.
Series
Surprisingly, yeah.
Summer.
What's the winter one? What's the autumnal one?
Slipping my mind right now, but we will definitely
the other one,
the UK Yell on Twitter.
The other NLC thing.
That is where all this stuff will be shared. You'll be able to catch stuff as it goes live. Also join the Discord. Yeah, the Discord is also the best place to go and find it all.
Well, that's what we got. I've been pinged. Did someone ping me what it's called? The Aurora Cup. That's the one.
Yes.
Oh, that thing. I know this one. That's coming up at some. That's tomorrow. Yeah, we got all sorts of teams there. I don't know, man. We got someone involved here.
Cool. Right, but for now, that is where we're going to wrap up tonight. As you can tell, we are both pretty tired, but that's okay because these games have been good enough and hot enough to keep us awake. Stay around. Obviously, tomorrow Aurora Cup begins, and you've got always Four Nations action every Monday, every Thursday. Follow the Twitter. It's the UKEL. Join the Discord. Come on, you know what you're doing at this point. So thank you so much to everyone coming by. We will see you next time, and I look forward to bringing you all the action when it happens.